He just stabbed his dad 30-something times.
I'm gonna take y'all's lives.
Okay.
And I'm gonna torture y'all.
Okay, come on.
You understand me?
Everybody's
okay? It's rough. It's rough.
Okay.
You're gonna be special. You're gonna be special. You're gonna be special. Look at me. Look at me.
This is 42-year-old Eric Lee Nimsey from Dell City, Oklahoma. On camera, he looks unhinged, angry, and completely detached from reality. But this isn't just some disturbed guy mouthing off. Just minutes before this footage was recorded, officers found his father lying in a pool of blood. The whole nightmare began around 6 p.m. on May 26, 2025, when a Dell City 911 dispatcher picked up a call that would turn their shift into something out of a horror film. On the other end of the line was Eric.
Dell City 911?
Yeah, Dell City. Hey, we got an accident over here. I think it's an accident. You come check it out?
What's happening?
I don't know. There's a man laying on the floor with some blood.
Okay, where are you located?
Hey, tell them where we're at, Dad. You know where we're at. 34. Hold on. Turbo, tell them where you're at.
In that first call, Eric claims there's an injured man who needs help. Within seconds, he admits it's his own father, even calling him by his nickname, Turbo, like this is some twisted joke. As the dispatcher tries to get details, what happened, where they are, how badly he's hurt, you can hear his father in the background, struggling, groaning, clearly in agony. Officers are dispatched to the Heights apartments, but before they even arrive, the call cuts off.
Oh, Dell City.
Okay, what happened?
Dell City, what does it happen? Oh, just send the ambulance over here, okay? He's 2,000 plus years old. Come help him. He needs some help.
For a second, you might think maybe the panic got to him. Maybe he's just handling this badly, but Eric isn't done. He calls 911 again, and this time the truth spills out.
Where is he bleeding from?
I don't know, a couple different places. Hey, you did your leg? Yeah. One in your shoulder? Oh, yeah. That side? Yeah. That's your back. You want me to pull? Put the shoes off. No. Last time we did here, taking your left or right foot.
There was no accident, no misunderstanding. Eric starts bragging on the phone. He tells the dispatcher he isn't trying to save his father. He's hurting him. He's proud of it. He starts dragging the dispatcher into his cruelty, taunting them, almost daring them to listen while he continues whatever he's doing off camera. It's not just cold, it's calculated. Every word makes it more obvious that he isn't some panicked son. He's the threat.
What do you want? Dispatcher, whoever you are.
I'm sorry?
Say left or right, and this will be on you. Hey, left or right?
No, sir. I need to know where the bleeding is coming from.
If you don't say left or right, if you don't answer in 3 seconds, I'm going to hang up and I'm assuming you said left.
What is happening?
As officers restore the apartment complex, things on the phone only grow more disturbing. Eric keeps rambling, switching between taunts, strange phrases, and dark little comments that make it clear he's enjoying the chaos he's causing.
He said they'll be here after you take the shoes off. Oh, you want to hear this? Huh? I know y'all can hear me, right? Oh, please. Oh. Hey, I know you hear me. Hey.
I'm still on the line now. No way. What is going on?
He wants to know left or right. It's him. What do you want?
Who is he?
I'll stay here. What? Right there in that same arm, right there. No. Say 410. I want it in the right. Oh. My nose is hurting. Oh.
The dispatcher, who started the call sounding calm and controlled, begins to crack a little as Eric starts arguing with his father about something that makes the whole thing even more surreal: his shoes. In the middle of a stabbing, Eric is yelling at his injured father about taking his shoes off, as if the violence isn't enough. It's like listening in on a nightmare that doesn't make sense, but is deadly real.
You need contact? No, because the guy's like making this other guy strip. He's like, take your shoe off so I can chop up your toe.
Finally, 2 officers roll up to the Heights apartments. Their body cam picks up the moment they step into the scene. One officer moves in on Eric, gets him in handcuffs, and pulls him away. The other heads straight for the victim. The camera follows him through the doorway and into the apartment, revealing the full extent of what Eric has done to his 63-year-old father, Mr. Eddie Davis. Blood, multiple stab wounds, a man barely hanging on as paramedics are called in to take over. The coolness of Eric Stone on the phone suddenly has a horrifying visual to match it.
Clear. Police department! It's locked!
We can't, it's locked. Come unlock it.
We're trying. Alright, ready? It's the deadbolt. Open the door! What's going on? Step out here, me. Step out. Okay? We got
Over there. Face that wall. Face that wall.
All right, go down your knees. Go down your knees. All right, back. Y'all believe in mercy?
Face that wall.
You don't believe in mercy?
I believe in mercy.
That's cool.
Is there anybody else in the apartment with you?
326 upwards, I got one detained. What's going on? Okay.
I got a. My grandfather got a.
Is this blood all over you?
Yeah.
326 Eckler, start medical to her location.
Get up.
All right, get up. Hop up. Okay.
Is anybody else in here? No. Okay.
What's the blood from?
Just get up that way. Alright, just stay still. Just stay still. Is anyone else in the house? I'm gonna check.
Yeah.
Is anyone else in here? Make yourself known, Dust City Police! Anybody else in here? Make yourself known! Okay. Alright, man. Medical's on their way, alright? I had to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, just stay still.
Oh, I got a knife sticking in the back.
Okay, just don't move. Don't move.
God.
Knife fight.
Where's the guy that's detained?
Brandon, what's your name?
My name's Eddie Davis.
JD Davis?
Eddie.
Eddie Davis?
Yeah.
Okay, man. Medical's on their way, alright? Just stay still.
My son did this.
That's your son?
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
Eric Lindsay.
Eric Lynn Lindsay? Okay.
Bro's up
On his arm, and he stabs everywhere.
While Mr. Davis waits for emergency treatment, the officers try to talk to Eric. They want to know what happened, why this started, what led up to it. Instead of answers, they get nonsense. Eric pushes back at every question. He jumps to strange topics, rambles, twists his words, and fires off bizarre statements that go nowhere. Nothing he says helps his father. Nothing he says makes sense. It's like trying to interview someone who lives in a completely different reality.
I'm Bentley.
I'm Eric. Alright. You know me?
I don't think so.
You never seen me?
I don't think so. Have you seen me
You believe in
before?
mercy, though?
What do you mean by that?
Just in general. You believe in the Holy Bible? Are you going anywhere?
I'm not planning on it.
About 120 years, you going anywhere?
I'll probably be dead by then, man.
I'm gonna live forever, right? I don't have time. Yeah, not for a zillion. That took a little too long. Yeah. That almost take like forever, right? Almost take like my whole life, right? No, that's only what, max 120? Remember when I say A to Z? We'll see, or 1 to a zillion, all right? 1 to Z. Okay.
Digging into his history, officers learn this isn't Eric's first violent encounter with the law. Back in 2018, he attacked a police officer. He was later found unfit to stand trial and was sent to a mental institution, where he spent around 4 years. At some point in 2021, doctors determined he had already exceeded the maximum period for court-ordered treatment and wasn't expected to become competent either before or after release. Despite that, he was discharged into his father's care as part of an outpatient program. Whatever the treatment he received clearly didn't stop his violent behavior. By the time he arrived at the station after the stabbing, the madness had only escalated.
All right, Mr. Nimsey, come on out here for us. Before I get out, you're gonna answer. Lion, tigers, or bears? You want the bear, you get the bear. 6 of them. 6 bears, 6 tigers. I'll get special for you all. No, you're gonna be special. Okay? I hope so. All right, come on out here. Come on out here, Mr. Nimsey. At least you got that. Okay.
Y'all know me?
No. Have you ever seen me?
I haven't ever seen you.
You ever seen my mother?
No, sir.
You don't know none of this.
I don't know none of it.
All right,
Just come on here with us.
Chance. Do you hear me?
Come on here with us.
Thayer, it's gonna be bad for you.
Inside the patrol car and later at the station, the tension rises again. Eric becomes more aggressive, more confrontational. He starts throwing out specific threats, not just chaotic rants. He leans out of the car, still stained with his father's blood, and stares each officer dead in the eyes as he promises what he would do to them if he had the chance. It's no longer just eerie, it's directly menacing.
Would you kill a human? What if I killed your mother? What would you do to me? Hey, you get a good picture of that?
Get a good picture of what?
What you seen in there?
Yeah.
What was it?
We got several of them.
What was it?
I don't know yet.
You don't know what you seen?
I don't know yet. No, I don't know.
Okay, so you didn't go in the house. Did you go in the house, the apartment complex?
Yeah.
Did you see anything in the kitchen floor?
I saw a lot of stuff in the kitchen.
What'd you see? Red stuff?
Yep.
What, some of this stuff? I'm gonna take y'all's lives.
Okay.
And I'm gonna torture y'all.
Okay, come
You
on.
understand me?
Everybody's
Okay?
saying.
It's
Everybody
rough.
understands
It's rough.
you. Okay.
You're gonna be special. You're gonna be special. You're gonna be special. Look at me. Look at me. It's okay. Hey, that's fine. I'm gonna get out. You're gonna look at me too, and I'm gonna take your life.
Everybody's looking at you, but we're getting
Okay.
awful tired of waiting.
Oh, that's fine.
Come on
We can go. We can go.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to step right back here, okay?
That's fine.
Do me a favor, Mr. Nimsey. Go ahead and go down to your knees.
That's fine.
Go ahead and go down to your knees.
Y'all remember this moment, all right?
We will. We will. All right. Now fold all the way down on your belly. All the way down on your belly. We'll support you till you get there. Okay.
Eventually, officers manage to drag him out of the car, change him into a jumpsuit, and process him fully into the system. Even then, as he's being walked to a holding cell, he can't resist one last ominous line, saying he'd rather die and go to hell than, well, anything they're offering. It's a final reminder of just how far gone he is. Eric is booked into the Oklahoma County Detention Center on a $25,000 bond, charged with domestic assault and battery with a deadly weapon, and domestic assault and battery resulting in great bodily harm. The only sliver of relief in this whole case is that his father, Eddie Davis, somehow survived. As of the latest report, he's in the hospital, recovering from multiple stab wounds that easily could have ended his life. Pay close attention to the man in the Deadpool costume. On the university's campus security footage, he looks almost ordinary, just another person in a comic book mask, casually walking through the parking lot in broad daylight, blending in with students coming and going. But what the cameras don't show at first glance is that for 2 weeks, that very man had been quietly shadowing a 21-year-old track star named Lauren McCluskey. On October 22, 2018, Lauren vanished. What looked like a normal day on campus was about to become the final chapter of a story she had tried desperately to warn people about. 9 days earlier, on October 13th, Lauren had walked into the campus police department and told them she was receiving disturbing, threatening messages from unfamiliar phone numbers. She was frightened and confused, but very clear that something was wrong. Over the next several days, she contacted the police again and again, trying to make them see the danger closing in on her. Her calls were brushed aside, treated like a nuisance or a misunderstanding instead of what they really were, a young woman trying to save her own life. What makes this even more tragic is that warning signs had started appearing before that. 10 days before the footage of the masked figure in the parking lot on October 9th, security cameras had captured Lauren meeting up with her boyfriend, a man she knew as Sean Fields. According to her roommate, Lauren had planned to end things with him that very day. She sensed something was off. What she didn't know yet was that Sean Fields didn't exist. The name was a lie. Everything about him was carefully constructed. The truth behind Lauren's disappearance might have stayed tangled in rumors and guesses, if not for the trail she left behind. Text messages, screenshots, calls, and reports that showed she was trying to expose what was happening to her. She made sure there was a record. She made sure that even if she didn't survive, people would find out who he really was. The man in the Deadpool costume was not a charming student. He was a manipulator, a practiced liar who had become very good at pretending to be stable, generous, and safe. To understand just how strong Lauren was and how much was lost, you have to go back to who she was long before all this. The year is 2013. Lauren is living in Pullman, Washington, with her parents Matthew and Jill. She is bright, athletic, and kind, the sort of young girl who seems to shine in every part of her life. Academically, she does well. Socially, she's the friend who answers the phone at any hour, the one people call when they need support. From an early age, she is fearless, climbing trees at 2 years old, running faster than youngsters twice her size, and showing a natural gift for track and field. With her parents' encouragement, she competes nationally. At just 10, she places second at the USA Junior Olympics. By the time she finishes high school, colleges notice. The University of Utah offers her a scholarship to join their track and field team. In September 2015, Lauren and her parents arrive on the busy Salt Lake City campus. Her parents are nervous about leaving her far from home, but Lauren adapts quickly. She makes new friends, like her freshman roommate Alex. She trains, studies, and builds a full life surrounded by teammates and classmates. She is happy, confident, and hopeful. Fast forward to September 1st, 2018, the start of her senior year. Lauren and Alex head downtown for a fun Saturday night out. They visit a bar called the London Bell. At the door, the bouncer introduces himself as Sean Fields. He's tall, muscular, charming, and friendly. Throughout the night, he checks on their table, makes small talk, and works his way into the conversation. As they're leaving, he gently taps Lauren on the shoulder, chats with her again, and asks for a number. They make plans for a date the very next day.
I remember him being very huge, very big muscles. Throughout the night, he would come back and pass through and stop and talk to us a few times.
On September 2nd, Lauren gets ready for that first date. Up to this point, she has never had a truly serious boyfriend. Sean seems attentive and polite in all the right ways. He tells her he's a student majoring in computer science. He appears calm, mature, and put together. Exactly the kind of person a high-achieving young woman might trust.
It sounded sort of old-fashioned, the way that he was paying attention to her. He took her out for dinner and bought her flowers and asked her to be his girlfriend.
In the beginning, everything feels sweet and safe. He brings her flowers, he asks her to be his girlfriend. From the outside, it looks almost like a storybook romance. But the fairy tale starts cracking quickly. Within weeks, her friends notice a shift. Sean's behavior becomes controlling. Lauren begins wearing clothes he prefers, answering his calls immediately because she's afraid of making him angry. He spends nearly all his time at her dorm, weaving himself into her daily routines. He makes friends with other residents and moves through the building without a keycard as if he practically lives there.
Why do you have to answer your phone when that person calls? And she's like, they really want me to answer my phone right away because they just want to make sure where I'm at, what I'm doing, and if I'm okay.
Lauren, once energetic and upbeat, starts to look exhausted and emotionally drained. On October 1st, things take a darker turn. He hands her a loaded military-style pistol and tells her it's for her protection. Her friends are alarmed. This is no longer just a clingy boyfriend. This has entered dangerous territory. They report what they've seen to a resident assistant named Diamond. Following protocol, Diamond emails campus security on October 2nd, explaining that Lauren may be in a dangerous relationship with a man who is not a student, who is constantly on campus, and who might be tracking her movements. The email goes into the system. No one replies. Days go by with no response from campus security. Then on October 9th, Lauren discovers something that tears down what's left of the illusion. She finds one of his ID cards, but the name and birth date don't match what he told her. When she searches the name online, the truth hits her all at once. His actual name is Melvin Rowland. He's not a fellow student. He's a 37-year-old man with a serious criminal history, including offenses involving minors and multiple parole violations. He isn't just lying about school. He is currently on parole. That night, Lauren confronts him. According to those close to her, his demeanor flips instantly. The soft, charming persona drops. He denies everything and becomes aggressive. They argue for hours, but Lauren stands firm. She ends the relationship. Unfortunately, cutting ties does not end the danger. Almost immediately, messages start pouring in from unfamiliar numbers. The senders claim to be Melvin's friends, pressuring her to respond. The tone grows increasingly unsettling. Some texts claim Melvin has passed away in a car accident, insisting she attend his funeral. The writing style in the texts looks suspiciously similar to Melvin's own messages. On October 12th, she reaches out to campus police again, trying to explain that this is no ordinary breakup and the harassment is escalating.
Getting these texts from these numbers of different people. They were saying that he was in the hospital, that he passed away. I got a text about, asking if I wanted to go to his funeral, and I think they're trying to lure me somewhere. All right.
Days pass with no meaningful update. On October 13th, Lauren and a friend go to the station in person. The officers tell her the texts are probably a scam, maybe a cruel joke. Lauren shows them that one of the numbers sending the disturbing messages is the same number Melvin used when they were together. They tell her the detective assigned to her case is out at the office and that she should expect an update by Tuesday. No one checks his parole status. No one looks deeper into how dangerous he actually is. Over the next week, Lauren keeps calling, trying again and again to get someone to take her seriously. While she is pleading for help, Melvin is moving in the opposite direction, planning. He buys a Deadpool costume and begins stalking her openly on campus, hiding his identity behind the red mask. Camera footage later shows him wandering the grounds with a small black bag in his hand. Inside that bag is a loaded .40 caliber firearm. On October 22nd, around 8 p.m., Lauren finishes a class and starts walking toward her dorm. She calls her parents, as she often does, to talk during the walk. Partway through the call, they suddenly hear raised voices. noise, and then nothing. The line goes dead. Lauren does not pick up again. That is the last moment her parents ever hear her voice. Later that night, security footage helps police track Melvin off campus. A woman who had unknowingly gone on a date with him recognizes his face from news reports and contacts authorities. Police chase him through downtown Salt Lake City. He runs into a church to hide. When officers finally reach him, they find that he has taken his own life. That same night, police find Lauren's belongings scattered on the ground and eventually her body inside a silver car. Her parents are shattered. The campus community is stunned and grieving. Yet the university initially claims there was nothing that could have been done, despite Lauren's repeated attempts to ask for help. Her parents refused to accept that answer. In their grief, they created the Lauren McCluskey Foundation, focused on reforming campus safety systems and protecting other students so that no one else's warnings are ignored the way Lauren's were. Their message is painfully clear and simple. When someone reaches out for help, believe them, take them seriously, act quickly. Lauren's story now lives on as more than just a headline. It has become a warning and a promise, a reminder that behind every call for help is a real person whose life may depend on whether someone listens.
Body wrapped in a blanket, duct tape, in a shopping cart here. No, I don't want to cut it yet.
It's February 28th, 2025 when dispatchers in Cedar Rapids, Iowa pick up a call that sounds more like a horror movie description than a real-life emergency. The report is simple but chilling. Someone has found what looks like a dead body, wrapped up and stuffed into a shopping cart, left out in the open like discarded trash.
I would, and there's a grocery cart behind the garage, and it looks, there's a blanket or something in there, got blood on it, and it looks like the shape of a box inside of the blanket. So I think there's a dead body inside of a grocery cart behind the garage.
When the first officer arrives, crime scene tape is already going up. The cart is sitting there in plain sight, in a place anyone passing by could see.
Very obvious body.
Okay.
Wrapped in blankets, bloody.
Okay.
Head's wrapped, legs are wrapped in this shopping cart.
Okay.
I'm just going to put this around both garages for you. So this lady in the blue coat, the one that found it.
Okay.
She's worried, she knows who it is.
Okay.
She's not being cooperative as far as giving me information.
Yeah.
Because the local police are short-staffed, paramedics step in to help secure the scene while more officers hurry over. Body cam footage records the moment the officer gets close enough to confirm everyone's worst fear. This isn't a misunderstanding. It isn't a dummy or some sick prank. There's a body inside that cart, wrapped and hidden under garbage bags.
Yeah, it does look like one, doesn't it?
You want a knife or anything? I got a knife if you want to cut it.
No, I don't want to cut it yet.
Yeah. Get nice hair.
Yep.
So,
all right.
So she told me that her boyfriend cheated on her the other day. She's worried it's a young female. Let me know. She's had this really weird story that she's...
Yep. I'm going to need you in CID. I got a dead body wrapped in a blanket, duct tape, in a shopping cart here.
The victim is identified as 38-year-old Brittany Hopkins, a local resident and mother of 3 youngsters. The heartbreak deepens when further examination reveals she was also between 15 and 19 weeks pregnant with her 4th child. So this isn't just one life lost, it's 2. While paramedics assist the lone officer, he starts doing what he can, locking down the immediate area, marking off evidence, and talking to the people who first spotted the cart.
Find that shopping cart? Okay, were you the one that called us? Okay. What happened?
I don't know. I just walked by the cart and I saw the carry my bag. I was like, oh, hell no, that must be a dead body.
Okay.
The first witness is a homeless woman who just wanted to use the shopping cart for herself. She explains that when she looked inside, she found the body buried under garbage bags, stuffed down as if someone thought that was enough to hide it. It's a strange attempt at concealment, considering the cart is sitting right out in the open. Next, the officer speaks to a second woman who notices the cart the day before but didn't look closely at what was inside.
Did you say you saw that there?
That cart was there because the only reason I was over here because I put cat food out over there.
Okay.
Which I probably shouldn't, but I do. But I do.
Underneath the...
Yes, underneath the trees. See, there's some there, and there. I put it where the cart was. The cart was over in the trees more, and I thought, oh, this is in the way of my cat food.
Okay.
My cat pants.
Yeah.
So I tried pulling it out. I couldn't because it It was heavy, and it was stuck in the mud.
And that was yesterday?
That was yesterday about 1:30.
About 1:30.
Yeah.
The second witness backs up the same details. The cart had been in that spot since at least the previous afternoon, stacked with high bags that looked like regular trash. No one realized what was really inside until the first woman tried to take the cart. As the picture starts to form, a detective arrives, and the scene shifts into a full homicide investigation.
An interesting one. Right there. I came in through here.
Okay.
It is a body. I did look at it. Yes. I saw, it looks like a black female. I just saw the tip of the head. I didn't want to manipulate it. The head is in the corner closest to us, like where the Aldi, the tether thing is. Legs are, so it's sitting like this. It's tape wrapped.
Okay. Yeah, I want this.
How big do you want me to?
Well, I want that whole side of the building. I don't want him to go over there. I want this whole lot cleared out too.
Yep.
And then honestly, this one too. I don't want anybody walking around anywhere. I don't know what anything is important yet.
This has been here since at least yesterday at 1:30.
Oh, you're
no. And those garbage bags were on top of it.
The officer brings him up to speed, but something on the ground pulls the detective's attention away.
Line right here. You can see this right here. So I want. I want all this blocked up.
Cut into the dirt are deep grooves stretching from the parking lot to the place where the cart now sits. They're long, parallel, and exactly the shape you'd expect from heavy wheels grinding through soft ground. It looks like someone loaded a body into that cart somewhere else, then dragged it right across the property to dump it where it was eventually found. By now, more officers are on scene. Rather than risk losing evidence by moving the body separately, they decide to transport the entire cart as it is, loading both the remains in the cart into a van so nothing is disturbed. 5 days after the discovery, investigators trace the crime back to 51-year-old Donnie White. Members of his family come forward and tell police that he had been in a relationship with Brittany. As soon as his name is released to the public, more information pours in. One caller reports seeing White and Brittany together several days before the cart was found. Another says they were with them just 1 day before the body appeared. Police locate White's apartment, and it's directly across the street from where the cart was left. What they find inside is both shocking and sickening.
Cedar Rapids Police Department search warrant, come to the door! Cedar Rapids Police Department search warrant, come to the door! Cedar Rapids Police Department search warrant, come to the door!
Close door.
No.
Closet right.
Closet right. Clear.
Go, get this. Clear.
Hey, pull back.
I got it. I hold it. Go for it. You got more with me? Let's take this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got
Just be careful. I'm not going to go in there.
The main bedroom carpet is stained in a way that screams cleanup attempt, likely bleach poured into the fibers. Blood spatter marks the walls, a bloody handprint, clothes stained with what appears to be both blood and cleaning chemicals, the same kind of tape used to bind the body, handwritten notes, and a bloody hammer. The whole apartment feels less like a home and more like a crime scene frozen in time.
Bathroom's clear. Here's a closet here, hold on. Looks clear. Clear in here.
All right. Clear. Clear.
That's the crime scene.
We double check all the small places with the TV beam on, just confirm. The closet or the bathroom is 100% clear.
Did we check that one?
Tags just did that one.
Okay.
With it being a crime scene, I don't know how. We didn't flip nothing. We didn't want to manipulate.
Better. Thank you. It's like bleach and stuff poured all over the carpet. Okay.
An autopsy confirms Brittany's cause of death, blunt force trauma to the head, which lines up perfectly with the hammer found in the apartment. The case is officially ruled a homicide. Just over a week later, investigators tracked Donnie White down in Las Vegas. He had fled the state, but he didn't get far enough. Cedar Rapids Police and the Northern Iowa Fugitive Task Force take him into custody and bring him back to face charges. When they start questioning people close to him, another layer is added. White's family says both he and Brittany were frequent drug users. It doesn't excuse anything, but it might explain his erratic behavior and the brutal way this crime played out.
Did he say anything to you on the text message chain about killing her?
No. Oh, I wouldn't let him send none of that to my phone. He said he had a picture of it, and he said, yeah, I killed her. You know, I'm like,
and that's
what?
who you knew as Ray Ray? That's who you knew, that photo right there?
Yeah, that's it. That's her. He did. He said, I put her in a push cart and rolled her out of here, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, and I wouldn't let him send me the picture, but he did send it to me, and I said, I don't want to see no mess like that. I said, I hope you're playing. I said, well, he didn't try to hide her, so to me that means I think he wanted her to be found. But the thing is, I think they both probably was high off that stuff. Yeah. They both was high and just probably went into a rage. I don't know. I never took the stuff. I don't know what kind of effect it would have or whatever. But he did say she came at him with a big old butcher knife. And he probably freaked out too.
Did he tell you he was high on meth? Or are you assuming because of his history?
We haven't discussed none of that. The only thing he told me was she came after him with a butcher knife and I killed it.
Police also speak with a nephew who picked Donnie up from the airport after the murder, filling in more gaps in the timeline.
Picked him up March 9th, a few blocks away from the airport. And it sounds like maybe he took him somewhere right away to the hospital.
Yeah, I took him to the hospital. He was having some type of episode. When I first got him in the car, I go back and pick up his bag because he told me his bag was around the corner, so I go pick up his bag. Then he says, I get him in the car. He hops out the car and starts running down the street. So I park the car. I try to get him back in the car, and the police pull up on us because a passerby told them that I guess somebody was trying to drag somebody in the car. So when the police pulled up, they questioned us and everything, and he said he was okay and all of that, and they let us go. So I was on my way to take him to the shelter. Then he's got the tweaking out on me again. So I was like, this your last time. So I took him to the hospital, and when I pulled up to the hospital, he actually had me in the headlock and was trying to bite me. So when I pulled up, I had to yell to the security to come get him off of me. Like, he had to be restrained, that type of episode. I don't even know what was going on with him. And after that, I ain't seen him since.
What was he suffering from that he ended up in the hospital?
I don't know. They didn't tell me what he was suffering from. I just knew.
What did Donnie say he was suffering from?
He didn't say anything. He was screaming and hollering like he wasn't saying anything. That's why I had to take him to the hospital, because I didn't know what was going on with him.
In the end, Donnie White is charged with first-degree murder and non-consensual termination of pregnancy. He later takes a plea deal, reducing the charge to second-degree murder and non-consensual termination of pregnancy. His sentence, 50 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 35. For Brittany's family and her 3 young ones, that's a long sentence, but it doesn't bring her back, and it doesn't erase the image of a life dumped in a shopping cart and left out for the world to find. Late one night in October 2018, the emergency room doors of a Miami area hospital burst open as a young man rushed inside, trembling and breathless. His name was Cortland Henry, and from the tone of his voice alone, nurses immediately understood something horrific had happened. He told them 2 of his closest friends had been shot in what he described as a violent drive-by attack. They were still in his car bleeding out. Staff sprinted outside, expecting chaos, expecting survivors clinging to life. But when they opened the car door, they froze. Inside the vehicle, 21-year-old Anthony Williams and 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr. lay completely still. Multiple gunshot wounds to their heads and upper bodies left no signs of alive. These weren't just names on a chart. They were rising musicians, friends, and part of a growing circle of young artists in Florida's hip-hop scene. Their promising futures ended before help ever arrived. Henry insisted he barely escaped. He said he and the victims had been recording music in Fort Lauderdale. On the drive home, according to his story, a car pulled up beside them and opened fire. Henry claimed he ducked, avoided the bullets, and drove straight to the hospital to save what little time his friends had left. His voice shook. He acted frantic, but detectives quickly learned that panic doesn't always equal truth. When officers went to the spot Henry claimed the shooting occurred, they found nothing. No shell casings, no shattered glass, no tire marks, no blood. The road was clean, too clean. A location hit with multiple rounds of gunfire should have left obvious signs, but there was nothing. Investigators started pulling surveillance footage from businesses along Henry's supposed routes. One of the first recordings exposed something Henry never mentioned: a fourth person in the car, a young rapper on the rise, YNW Melly, whose real name is Jamal Demons. According to the timestamp, he was in the car long after Henry claimed the drive-by happened. This single detail shifted the entire case. If Melly was there, why did Henry insist it was only the three of them? If this was a drive-by, why didn't the car show damage? If they were hit by gunfire, why were the wounds inconsistent with shots fired from outside the vehicle? Detectives dug deeper. The interior of the car told a completely different story. Gunshot residue, blood patterns, and trajectory analysis showed that the shots were fired from inside the car, not outside. In a real drive-by, bullets pierce metal, shatter windows, leave clear entry holes. Inside this vehicle, investigators found none of that. Instead, the evidence pointed inward, to someone in that car pulling the trigger. Then came the digital trail. Phone records and cell tower data revealed that Henry, Melly, Williams, and Thomas never separated. They moved together the entire night, from the recording studio to the moment Henry pulled up at the hospital. There was no gap in the timeline, no window for Melly to mysteriously appear or disappear. No unknown attackers. All four stayed together until the deadly moment occurred. Piece by piece, the original story collapsed. This wasn't strangers firing into a moving car. This wasn't a random ambush. This was something far more personal, far more controlled, and far more chilling. Investigators also discovered the depth of the relationships between the young men. Williams and Thomas weren't outsiders. They were friends, collaborators, performers who shared stages and studio sessions with Melly. These weren't enemies. These were the people he traveled with, worked with, and lived life with. That made the forensic findings even harder to process. After months of investigation, the evidence was overwhelming. In February 2019, police arrested YNW Melly on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Henry was charged as well, accused of helping stage the scene to look like a drive-by and misleading authorities at the hospital. The news hit the music world like a shockwave. Melly was one of Florida's fastest rising artists. Fans rushed to defend him. Others pointed to the evidence and said the truth was unavoidable. Social media turned into a battlefield of opinions, theories, and arguments. For investigators, everything hinged on 3 pillars: surveillance footage showing all 4 men together the entire night, cell tower and phone data mapping their movements with absolute precision, forensic analysis proving the shots came from inside the vehicle, not from an outside attacker. Together, these facts painted a picture no one involved was willing to admit. For the families of Williams and Thomas, grief turned into something deeper: betrayal. They had supported their sons' dreams, cheered at their performances, and watched them rise. Losing them was devastating. Learning that the people they trusted and spent time with may have been responsible made the pain even worse. As the case moved forward, the world kept watching, but so many questions lingered in the silence between interviews and evidence logs. What happened inside that car in the final moments? Was there an argument, a sudden escalation, a planned attack, or something far more complicated? The only people who knew the full truth were the 4 young men inside that vehicle, and 2 of them are gone forever. What remains is a case filled with grief, anger, unanswered questions, and the haunting reminder of how fast everything can change. One night filled with music, laughter, and friendship ended in heartbreak. 2 young men lost their lives. 2 others faced life-changing charges, and a community that once celebrated their talent was left searching for answers that may never fully come. This is 41-year-old Christopher Hall from Los Angeles, and the outfit he chose for his crime is almost as bizarre as the crime itself. On the night of May 28, 2025, just after 3:25 a.m., a business in the Olympic Division neighborhood calls 911. The report, an armed robbery in progress. The target, a donut shop. The suspect, a nearly half-dressed man in what appears to be women's clothing, carrying a gun and a knife.
Es que estamos aquí en el que está en la Western y la 18. Aquí llegó alguien con pistola queriendo asaltar a los de aquí en la Western y 18.
La Western
y 18, Western y 18.
Señor, ¿todavía están ahí ahorita?
Aquí está el señor con la pistola. Okay, yo me salí para afuera para pedir auxilio.
Ok, dame un momento, ok, déjame hablar con la patrulla.
The dispatcher quickly sends units to the 1600 block of Southwestern Avenue.
Unit 211 in progress, Western and 18th Street. Standby for further. Code 3 incident 444. Olympic units, additionally at 211 in progress, Western and 18th Street. The suspect's inside the armed with a handgun, male, black, wearing a green shirt, pink pants, and a hat. Code 3 incident 444. Additional incident 444.
When officers arrive, the scene inside has already turned violent. Security camera footage from the shop shows Hall walking up to the counter wearing almost nothing but tight, feminine clothing. He drops a small bag onto the counter, flashes a handgun at the employee, and makes it very clear he's not there for pastries. There's no audio, but the body language says enough. He's demanding cash, waving the weapon and trying to intimidate everyone in the store. Things escalate fast. At some point in the exchange, Hall also reveals a knife. The footage then jumps to the kitchen area. The employee has retreated to the back, likely trying to call for help or hit a panic button. Hall charges in after them with a gun raised, clearly furious he isn't getting what he wants. Then he snaps. He closes a distance and strikes the worker with a pistol, turning the robbery into direct assault. The employee fights back with what looks like pepper spray, blasting Hall in the face. He flinches, throws a tray of cinnamon buns in frustration, and keeps pushing forward. Another staff member jumps into the struggle as cash is thrown in Hall's direction, either to distract him or to get him to leave. For a second, the kitchen turns into total chaos. People grappling, items flying, money scattering across the floor. Eventually, Hall scoops up some of the cash from the tiles and bolts for the exit. Outside cameras capture him stumbling away from the shop. Several customers and bystanders rush out after him, one of them even hurling a chair in his direction as he retreats. When police roll up, witnesses quickly point toward an adjacent apartment complex. They're sure he ran that way. Body cam footage shows the tension spike as officers move into the complex searching for Hall. They don't know if the gun is real. They don't know if he's hiding in a stairwell, behind a corner, or waiting in ambush.
Get back! Get back! Which way you run? Hey! He's over here. Wait, what's the back? Where is he? Get out! Yeah. ¿Dónde se fue? ¿Estás bien? Hey, Airship, I think he ran into the parking lot of the U-Haul.
On the north side of this building, in between.
Okay, right here. Hey, hey, hey! Get back! Get back! He got him! Hey! He's right here! Drop the gun! Okay, I see him. Roger, I got the suspect right here in between the building. He's wearing a green shirt, black pants. Get over here! What? Hey! Get out of there! Hey! Get over here! Get over here! You're gonna get shot! Hey, Mike! I got suspect right! Let me see your hands. Hey! It's coming towards you. Hey! Get on the ground, dude. Hey! Get down! Get down! Officer needs help. Shot fired! Get down! Officer needs help! Put it down! Get down! Get down! Officer needs help. Shots fired. Get down. No. Hey. Get down, man. Watch out. Watch out.
Then in a slowed down clip, you can see it. Hall appears still armed. He raises the gun toward one of the officers. That single move is all it takes. The officer fires. The bullets miss Hall, but they do exactly what they were meant to do, force him to drop the weapon. He stumbles, the gun falls, and the distance between him and the cops closes fast. Another officer's body cam shows a different angle as Hall tries to scramble away, climbing a fence in a last-ditch effort to escape down an alley and back onto the street. It doesn't work.
He's right here! Left the gun! You see him? I see him. I got his head. He's wearing a green shirt and black hat. Get over here! Hey! Get out of here! Hey! Get over here! Get over here!
Hey! Move!
I got him!
Move!
Another squad car is waiting on the other side, with officers closing in from multiple directions. Hall is quickly disarmed and taken into custody. Only then do you get a good look at what he was actually carrying.
He doesn't have anything in his hand. Let me see. Get down. Get down. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. You're gonna get tased again. Don't move. You're gonna get tased again. Do not move. Get your hands behind your back.
You shot me, I'm shot!
No, you're not.
Shot fired!
Hold the frequency code.
The handgun that started the chaos turns out to be a very realistic airsoft gun, convincing enough to fool anyone in a split second. The knife, however, is real steel. The danger to the employees and officers was very real. Christopher Hall is charged with 2 counts of robbery and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm. The footage leaves little doubt. No matter what he was wearing, no matter what kind of gun he brought, his actions could easily have gotten someone killed that night, including himself. There are certain moments in life that only last seconds, yet they tear through everything that comes after. Moments that break families, rewrite futures, and leave behind questions that will never be answered in a satisfying way. That is exactly the kind of moment that unfolded on January 4th, 2019 inside an ordinary train carriage in Surrey, England. Nothing about the setting hinted at danger. Nothing about the people involved suggested violence, but within minutes, a simple misunderstanding spiraled into tragedy that still feels unreal years later. It was just after 1 in the afternoon when 51-year-old IT consultant Lee Pomeroy boarded a train at London Road Station in Guildford with his teenage son. The day should have been simple, quiet, meaningful. It was a day before his birthday, and he had plans with his family that weekend. He had no idea those plans would never come. At that same moment, 38-year-old Darren Pencil stepped aboard the very same train. His girlfriend, Chelsea Mitchell, had dropped him off minutes earlier. For him, too, it was meant to be an ordinary trip. No alarms, no signs, nothing suggesting what was about to unfold. The two men did not know each other. They had no history, no conflict, no reason to even remember one another's faces. And yet within a few short minutes, their paths would collide in a way that would alter multiple lives forever. Passengers later described how it began, quietly, almost forgettably. The train aisle was narrow. Darren tried to squeeze past Lee and his son, muttering under his breath, "Ignorance is bliss." For most people, the remark would have been passed unnoticed, swallowed up by the background noise of travel, but Lee heard it and wanted clarification. It bothered him, especially with his son standing beside him, so he asked Darren what he meant, which should have ended with a shrug, a simple never mind, or even a forced apology, instead ignited something darker. Darren snapped back. The tension escalated fast. Words sharpened, tone hardened. Witnesses recalled the atmosphere tightening around them, the way small arguments sometimes turned unexpectedly emotional. Darren moved into the next carriage, likely trying to escape the confrontation altogether, but Lee followed him, insisting he deserved an apology for the comment. Lee wasn't aggressive, just firm, offended, and unwilling to let the issue go. For him, it was a matter of principle. For Darren, it felt like humiliation. Inside that next carriage, The energy changed. The argument grew sharper, colder. At one point, Lee made a remark that would later become central to the case. Witnesses described him saying something patronizing, something about Darren having special needs. Lee likely didn't understand the weight of those words. He didn't know Darren had borderline learning disabilities and an IQ ranked in the lowest 1%. He couldn't have known how deeply the comment would strike, but it did. It had altered everything. Darren's frustration turned into something more, something personal. He felt belittled, embarrassed, cornered. In his mind, the argument was no longer about a comment in a train aisle. It was about dignity, about self-worth, about emotion overriding logic. He began accusing Lee of being racist, though investigators later confirmed that no racist statements were made. The altercation had spun so far out of control that neither man could see a way back. Then CCTV captured the moment the confrontation crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Darren took out his phone and called Chelsea. During that call, he said words that chilled the courtroom months later. "I'm going to end this man. He's going to end up dead." Lee heard him, but he didn't believe it. He thought Darren was bluffing, maybe pretending to be on the phone, maybe trying to intimidate him. It didn't occur to him that the threat was real, let alone a prelude to something irreversible. Minutes later, at approximately 1:07 p.m., Darren reached into his pocket. Without warning, the argument erupted into violence. He launched at Lee with a knife in a sudden burst of brutality that lasted just 25 seconds. In that short window of time, he delivered 18 rapid strikes, 8 to Lee's neck and torso, the rest to his arms, hands, and legs as Lee desperately tried to defend himself. The very first blow cut a major artery in Lee's neck. Even with immediate medical care, survival would have been unlikely. Without it, he had no chance. Passengers screamed. The carriage descended into panic. Lee's teenage son saw everything: his father collapsing, the blood, the chaos. People tried to help, but the wounds were too severe. Darren grabbed his belongings and ran the moment the train stopped Clarendon Station. He vanished into a wooded area nearby, sweating and desperate, telling a stranger he had been in an accident before fleeing again. He discarded his glasses, jacket, and other clothing while Chelsea returned to pick him up. They drove from town to town as if trying to outrun the gravity of what had happened. At one point, they even stopped to record video of Darren's injuries, cuts sustained during the attack. Chelsea later called it an attempted comfort, though no one could make sense at such a moment. But the escape didn't last. At 6 a.m. the next morning, armed police surrounded Chelsea's home. She was told to step outside. Moments later, Darren followed, hands visible, and was arrested without resistance.
Jimmy, armed police, stay where you are at the moment, listen to my instructions. I want you to walk towards the door with your hands on display, nothing in your hands, do you understand? When you get to the door, you will stop, okay? And you will follow my instructions, do you understand? Walk slowly to the door with nothing in your hands. Keep walking, that's it, keep walking across, okay? Turn round, place your hands on your head.
During the trial in June 2019, Darren claimed he acted in self-defense. Chelsea claimed she had no idea anything serious had happened, but CCTV footage, forensic evidence, phone records, and witness testimony left little room for doubt. Darren delivered the attack. Chelsea helped him afterward. Darren was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 28 years. Chelsea received 28 months for assisting him. The most heartbreaking truth is how fast it all unfolded. Less than 10 minutes separated the first comment from the fatal blow. 10 minutes in which pride, misunderstanding, and emotion spiraled into tragedy. 3 families were shattered. Lee's son lost her father the day before his birthday. Darren lost decades of freedom. Chelsea lost the life she knew. And it all began with a single muttered sentence in a crowded train aisle. Proof that sometimes the smallest moments carry the greatest consequences, and the choices we think are harmless can be the ones we can never undo.
Like it's been, I don't do this, I can't.
This is 32-year-old Tiffany Lucas. On paper, she is the mother of 2 boys, 6-year-old Maurice and 9-year-old Jaden. In old videos, she appears like any devoted parent, smiling, running her small store, holding her young ones close. If you had met her in 2016, you'd probably have described her as warm, hardworking, and caring. But on November 8th, 2023, something inside Tiffany shattered in the worst possible way. On that day, she killed both of her sons.
A lot of people don't make their way down here, but if there's a Walmart, you come out of the woodworks for Walmart. So probably would have brought a lot of people to, stop and check us out.
Local news footage from years earlier shows a completely different version of Tiffany, standing in her shop, talking cheerfully about her business, with no hint of the darkness that would come later. Jaden would have been around 2 years old back then. Nobody looking at the scene could have predicted what would eventually happen inside her home. To understand the horror of that crime and her mental state afterward, you have to watch the body cam footage from the moment officers arrived.
My neighbor just came up to my door and just passed out, and I can't get her to wake up. She's
okay, is she breathing?
She is.
How old is she?
I would say in her early 30s. And now she's screaming that the kids are dying. Stay here. Do we know what happened to him?
I have no idea. We just found our neighbor, the woman, their mom, just freaking out in my yard.
Okay, and how old is he?
Oh my God, he's I don't know. He's probably 6. There's blood on the bed. There's a gun. Oh my God.
Was he shot?
I don't see a gunshot wound. There's 2 of them. They're both here. They're breathing.
Okay, there's 2 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is she able to tell you what's going on or what happened?
No. Do you know what happened? No. She is shaking. She's on something, freaking out. I don't know. She's just laying here now on her stomach.
Within minutes of the 911 call, patrol cars pull up to the house. The front yard looks ordinary, but the atmosphere is heavy. One of the first officers on scene encounters Tiffany outside. Her hands are already restrained. She looks dazed, unfocused, like she's half in this world and half somewhere else entirely.
She conscious? She conscious? Yeah. Ma'am, what's your name? Huh? Tiffany. I can't hear you. Tiffany? Mm-hmm. All right, Tiffany, I'm going to change these handcuffs out, okay? And then I'm going to roll you over and I'm going to sit you up, all right? 1, 2, 3. Take this leg, fold it in, make that foot touch your knee. No, to the side, on the ground. Now, we're going to roll again this way and I'm going to assist you up on your feet, okay? Mm-hmm. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
When they lift her to her feet, she can barely stand on her own. She insists she isn't on drugs or alcohol. She tells the officer that she just doesn't feel right. Her voice is weak, her words slow. It's the first real glimpse into the state of mind she's in, disconnected, confused, and unstable.
Have you taken anything? Have you been drinking? Then why can't you stand up?
I don't feel right.
You just don't feel like it, huh?
I said I don't feel right.
Don't feel right? Okay. I guess we'll put her in my car, and when EMS gets done in there, they can come over and check her out.
The officer places her in the patrol car to secure her, then shifts focus to the house, where first responders are dealing with an unimaginable scene.
They said they haven't found it yet, but EMS moved a bunch of stuff, so we'll have to find it later. Once the detectives get done, worst comes to worst, I can bring the dog in and he can locate it.
Inside, Maurice and Jaden have already been found. Both have been shot in the head. Their injuries are so severe that there's no question about what happened. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. Somewhere in this house, a gun had been used to take 2 young lives, but the weapon itself is missing. Officers tear through the rooms, checking on their furniture, in closets, and drawers, anywhere a firearm could be hidden. The released footage never shows them finding it. As they search, a detective arrives. The responding officer walks him through the basic timeline. When they arrived, where the boys were found, Tiffany's condition, the fact that the murder weapon is nowhere in sight.
So yeah, it's this house. From my understanding, those are the neighbors. She ran to their house. When I got here, she was laying down over there handcuffed. Hillview had already cuffed her. Both the children in there, they're loading them up. They're going to transport, and they have not found a gun. Hillview said they weren't going to search. They made sure the house was clear for EMS to go in. They went in. No, that's...
Shortly after, the bodies are removed and taken to Children's Hospital. Even though they know there's no saving them, the process is treated with as much care and dignity as possible.
Kitty's got your handcuffs.
Outside, more disturbing details surface. The officer shares something Tiffany asked at the scene. A question so cold and detached, it sticks with everyone who hears it. It's the kind of remark that makes your blood run cold, because it doesn't match the horror of what just happened.
She apparently admitted to someone that she shot her kids.
We don't know if her dad or was this guy here that said she did.
She come over here, fell out in the driveway. His wife seen it, which Christina got a statement from him. She got him, and apparently she told him that she shot her kids. He went over and looked and seen them, and then came over here and called.
And this is this guy right here?
Yeah. And
She was told she was detained, right?
Oh, yeah, she knew. The only thing she has said to me since that is, are they still alive?
At the same time, EMTs arrive to evaluate Tiffany herself. Physically, she appears unharmed. No visible gunshot wounds, no cuts or bruises that could explain her off feeling, but mentally, she's clearly not present. She can barely keep her eyes open. Her whisper is weak. She drifts between vacant and slightly alert. She's taken in for questioning, but the process doesn't start right away. Before they bring her into the interrogation room, an officer uses a metal detector wand to scan her one more time.
Here, watch the rocks. You tenderfooted? Okay. Okay, stand here with him. I'm going to get my wand. Okay, I'm going to do that myself since this is just the wand, okay? It's just to check you. You got anything on you? Nothing? Just the handcuffs? Yep. They're just picking up the handcuffs and ankle bracelet. Okay. You got a necklace on? Earrings?
For a brief moment, the device seems to pick something up, but visually there's no sign of injury, no embedded metal, nothing obvious. It could be malfunction, it could be something else. Either way, EMTs are called back in to double check and rule out anything life-threatening.
Myself in the head.
You what?
Shot myself in my ear.
You shot yourself in the ear?
Mm-hmm.
Which ear?
This one.
I don't see anything.
There's nothing there.
Okay. Okay. Which ear did you supposedly do that at?
This one.
One again?
I did. I know.
Right, okay.
I know.
You know what?
Okay, all right, we'll see you in a few minutes then. Okay. All right, goodbye.
You ain't shot nothing now.
Then her paranoia starts to slip through. Tiffany suddenly switches from quiet and spaced out to agitated and angry. She snaps at one of the officers, launching into a strange verbal attack that doesn't quite match what's happening in the room. It's as if she's reacting to a different conversation only she can hear.
Am I showing something now? Am I showing something, you said? Yeah, he did.
Huh?
He said they ain't showing nothing now.
It's not.
It was earlier.
It was vibrating, but
that's why you asked about the earrings in.
right. But it could be.
Yeah.
It could be coming up with your handcuffs.
Yeah. That's why it was vibrating. People aren't right.
Who ain't right?
People are not right. They're preying on children. It's just not.
I just stayed up by her ear. I'm not seeing nothing. That's supposedly the one she said.
Though. He did, didn't he? He said, "You got earrings in, didn't he?"
Okay,
it's on
calm down. It's okay.
That don't have nothing to do with it.
It means everything. You're up. You're sick.
Yeah.
After that outburst, she's led into an interrogation room. Eventually, the investigator comes in and sits down across from her. At first, Tiffany seems calmer with him there. He loosens her cuffs, tries to make her more comfortable, and encourages her to talk. Slowly, she begins to share what she believes is happening. The problem is, what she's saying doesn't line up with reality at all. She talks about things that make no sense, explanations that feel like they're coming from a paranoid world only she can see. The investigator listens, confused. Her words are fragmented, paranoid, and detached from what actually happened in the house.
How are you?
You can go ahead and stand up for me. Turn face the wall.
Do you move to everyone's step too?
Huh?
Do you move?
Do I?
No.
Go ahead, you can ask me. What you got?
Nothing.
She claims I move. I told her I'm not a person that sits still. I move constantly.
Yeah, I've got that jittery. I'm always having to. Of course, I'm pretty slow. Getting older.
You got her.
He moves to every sound.
Huh? You what?
Here, let me slide your chair closer.
Yeah. Scoot over there. There you go. How's that? You want to scoot up a little bit?
It's really tight. I'm not gonna resist nothing. Can just listen to love. I'm not a mean person. I feel like I don't manipulate the game systems and everything. Then manipulate my children, manipulated my mind.
Really is?
All them game systems and, just everything.
The games, you said?
Yeah, like PlayStations, all the games that the kids play.
Yeah.
It manipulates their mind and then they get to your mind.
Yeah.
See, as soon as you walked in. Why is it doing that?
My phone.
As soon as you walk in the door? That's weird, right?
It's weird.
It's weird. As soon as people walk, sounds, that's not right.
No.
Let me shut this.
See?
Let me shut this.
It's not right. See?
Not for right now.
Okay.
Every time I say something, your phone's going off.
Believe me, I wish it wasn't going off.
Every time he tries to ground the conversation, she circles back to her own internal story, trying over and over to prove a point that exists only in her mind. Then just when it seems like she might stay in that flat, distant state, her personality shifts again. She breaks down emotionally, crying, rambling, swinging between guilt, denial, and fear.
What's your last name?
Lucas.
Lucas?
You know my name.
I've got it in there. But I swear to God, it's in there, and I didn't
It
feel
was
like
written on everything in the back of the police cars.
I'm telling you.
I've seen it.
I don't.
No,
I can go in the other room and get it.
In the back of the police cars, there's white things with Lucas written on them. I've seen it.
Really?
Yes.
I have not seen that. Huh? I have not seen that. What's your middle name? Or do you have a middle name? What is it?
I have two.
Oh.
And Catherine.
And Catherine? Well, I'm going to talk to you today about what happened earlier, okay? But can you tell me a little bit about yourself? I mean, where are you from, or where you grew up, or anything like that?
I know I look crazy, but I'm not.
Huh?
Because I know I look crazy, but I'm not crazy.
I don't think you look crazy. I'm just trying to, if I'm going to talk to someone, I'd rather know who they are. I can tell you a little bit about me.
I love my children.
You tell me a little bit about you. Okay.
I love my children. I love my boys so much. I wouldn't hurt them, but I just feel like I felt back and I didn't. I was letting them play the video games, and I wasn't focusing how I was supposed to, and they get that video game and the YouTube and the kids, it just messes their minds up to where people can manipulate their parents or do whatever they want. And I feel like someone put something upon my house or me or something. I just don't feel right. I'm not, I don't do this. I love my kids.
In court, Tiffany initially pleads not guilty. She claims the shootings were an accident, a story that clashes sharply with the evidence that the scene officers walked into. Later, she changes her plea and admits to killing her sons, leaving her fate in the hands of Judge Rodney Buras.
I cannot imagine the sheer horror these children must have experienced seeing their mother with a gun. The sheer horror that second child had as he heard the discharge of that weapon for the first child. And maybe even both of them seeing their mother pull the trigger, taking their life. At this time, the court will state for the record, the court has considered the probation pre-sentence report, arguments of counsel, the contents of the file, and no sufficient reason having been shown by judgment not be pronounced and sentence imposed. In case number 23 CR 404, Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Tiffany Lucas, as to count 1, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. On count 2, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. This time, the court will order that the Sheriff's Department deliver the defendant to the custody of the Corrections Cabinet for service of her sentence of imprisonment. That's all for today. Court will be adjourned.
Tiffany is sentenced to prison, where she will be eligible for parole after 20 years. But with a case this severe, involving the deaths of 2 young boys, it's extremely unlikely she will ever walk free again. For the people who watch this footage, the most chilling part isn't just the crime itself. It's the way a mother who once appeared loving and stable could reach a point where reality slipped so far away, she became a danger to the very young ones she was supposed to protect. On October 17, 2018, Kirk Polytechnic College in Russia started like any ordinary school day. Students were in classrooms, chatting in hallways, worried about exams, schedules, and weekend plans, completely unaware that for some of them, this would be the very last morning they'd ever see. Among the crowd was 18-year-old final-year student Vladislav Rozlyakov. He moved across campus almost invisibly, blending in with everyone else. But there was nothing normal about why he was there. He arrived around 10 a.m., carrying both a duffel bag and a backpack, not filled with books or notes, but with a shotgun and several crude explosives he had brought with one intention in mind. While others focused on their classes, he was focused on something far darker. Instead of using the main entrance like everyone else, Vlad chose a route that allowed him to slip around the school's security measures, avoiding scrutiny and scanning equipment. He headed straight to a bathroom and quietly stashed his duffel bag in one of the stalls, as if he'd done it 100 times before. From that moment on, everything that followed was deliberate. As the morning dragged on, it was almost like he was waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Just before the lunch break, he made his way toward the cafeteria. He stood by the doors, checking his phone over and over, counting down the minutes while other students waited simply because they were hungry. When the doors finally opened, he walked inside like everyone else. But his purpose was chillingly different. He slipped his backpack under a table, leaving behind a large nail bomb in the middle of a crowded room. The cafeteria quickly began to fill with students and staff, people sitting down, lining up, laughing, scrolling through their phones, none of them realizing there was a deadly device sitting right beneath their feet. No one questioned the abandoned backpack, no one raised an alarm. And then, without warning, the routine noise at lunchtime was replaced by a violent blast. The explosion tore through the cafeteria, sending shards of metal and debris ripping through the air. Deadly shrapnel sprayed across the room, striking people who never even had the chance to understand what was happening. 10 people lost their lives almost instantly, and the building itself was left scarred and torn open, while everyone else was either injured, stunned, or running for their lives. Vlad was already moving into the next phase of his plan. After the bomb detonated, Vlad reportedly began firing from a bathroom window before stepping into the hallways with a shotgun and walking through the school as a gunman instead of a classmate.
Нахуй там взорвалось, нахуй. Что-то, блядь, там взорвалось. Да, нахуй. Ну такой, знаешь, с окна, знаешь, чтобы стекла полетели. Блядь, надо позвонить, ебать, узнать, чей это тело. Может, не трогать? Кто-то съебал? Подожди, там может помощь нужна!
Panic swallowed the building. Classrooms that had been full of lessons only moments earlier turned into hiding places. Some students barricaded doors. Others fled down the stairs, while staff desperately tried to get people to safety. But the damage was already beyond anything they could control. One by one, more victims were caught in the chaos until eventually his rampage led him to his final target. His head teacher, Alexander Moinkov. Vlad shot him from a distance, striking him twice, then approached closer just to deliver a final shot to his head. A cold, calculated act that showed exactly how far detached from humanity he had become. When it was over, he walked into the library, sat down against a bookshelf, and turned the gun on himself, ending his own life with a single shot to the head. Investigators would later dig into his past and uncover a deeply troubling picture. Vladislav was described as a loner who had been severely depressed and consumed by violent fantasies. From his online activity and digital history, it became clear that he had spent at least 2 years obsessing over terrorism and mass murder, studying infamous school shooters and treating them like twisted role models. Reports suggested he had fixated on the Columbine attackers in particular and tried to mirror not only their violence, but even the way they ended their own lives after the attack. In the end, the massacre at Kerch Polytechnic College claimed 21 lives and left around 70 others injured. It became the deadliest school shooting in Russia since 2004. The story begins on what should have been a normal workday in Erie, Pennsylvania. Late August 2003, inside a small, familiar pizza shop, 56-year-old delivery driver Brian Douglas Wells clocks in just like he had countless times before. Brian isn't the kind of man who draws attention. He's quiet, polite, reliable, and steady. He knows the routes, the regular customers, and the daily rhythm of the job. The scent of warm pizza boxes stacked on the counter is part of his everyday life. Nothing about that afternoon hints that he is about to step into one of the most bizarre and controversial criminal cases in American history. Early in the day, the phone rings. Someone places an order for 2 pizzas to be delivered to a location that doesn't match any of the usual addresses. A television transmission tower sitting alone at the end of a long, isolated road. Almost no one goes there except station workers. The staff takes the order without much thought. A delivery is a delivery. Brian picks up the pizzas, notes the unfamiliar destination, and heads out. What happens next between the moment Brian leaves the shop and the moment he appears again remains one of the case's great mysteries. Investigators believe he arrived at the tower and met several people already waiting for him, people who had carefully planned what was about to unfold. Something went wrong, or perhaps everything went exactly how those people intended. Either way, when Brian is next seen on camera, he's not just a delivery driver anymore. He is part of a twisted, deadly game. A short time later, Brian walks into a PNC Bank branch. Surveillance footage shows him moving calmly, almost quietly, as if he's still trying to understand the situation himself. But locked around his neck is something horrifying, a heavy metal collar attached to a device wired tightly against his chest. In his hands, he carries a cane that appears to be a simple walking stick, but investigators later discover it as a disguised firearm. Brian hands a note to the teller. It demands money and explains that the device strapped to him is a bomb. People at the bank later describe Brian as terrified, not aggressive. He repeatedly tells them he was forced into this, that he has been given a list of instructions, that he must complete each step or he will die. The teller fills a bag with about $8,000, far less than the note demanded, but no one wants to provoke whatever nightmare he has become trapped in. At 2:30 p.m., Brian leaves the bank. Police are already surrounding the area. Brian does not run. He does not fight. He gets only a short distance before patrol cars circle him in a nearby parking lot. Officers shout commands. Brian lies down and stretches his legs out in front of him, hands cuffed behind his back. Everything that happens next is captured on police dash cams and news cameras rushing to the scene. The footage will later become infamous. Brian keeps repeating the same things. The bomb is real. I was forced to do this. I have instructions I'm supposed to follow. Officers radio urgently for a bomb squad, but Erie is small. The nearest team is far away. Time ticks forward with each beep of the collar device. No one knows how long they have. Some officers think the bomb might be fake. Others keep their distance, unsure whether getting too close could cost them their lives. Inside Brian's car, police there find multiple pages of handwritten instructions, a bizarre scavenger hunt directing him from one location to another to retrieve clues and keys that would supposedly disarm the device. But investigators point out something chilling. There is not enough time for Brian to complete the steps. Even if he had begun immediately, the timing makes the full sequence nearly impossible. While the officer waits helplessly for the bomb squad, the device begins to beep, at first slowly, then faster. Brian becomes more frantic. He tells them again that it's going to explode. The officers back up for safety as a crowd gathers behind police team, watching in horrified silence. Then the beeping stops. There's a burst of sound, a violent flash. The device detonates. Brian Wells collapses. He does not move again. What began as a strange robbery instantly becomes one of the most disturbing crime scenes in the country. News anchors describe it as something that feels almost unreal. Was Brian a victim, an accomplice, Both, the federal government needs answers. The FBI, ATF, and Pennsylvania State Police form a joint task force. They analyze the device and discover it is far too complex to be a hoax. It has multiple locks, decoys, and a real explosive trigger, crafted by someone with significant technical skill. Investigators trace the mysterious pizza order to a group of people living near the transmission tower. Among them are Bill Rothstein, a man described as exceptionally intelligent, Marjorie Diehl Armstrong, known for mental instability and violent behavior, Kenneth Barnes, a man with his own criminal past, and Floyd Stockton, who later receives immunity for his cooperation. As the task force interviews witnesses, examines evidence, and reconstructs timelines, a larger picture emerges. This wasn't simply a robbery, it wasn't a prank, it was a layered, deliberate scheme involving personal grudges, financial desperation, and manipulation. Years later, the official conclusion reveals a deeply tangled truth. Investigators believe Brian was involved in part of the plan, but never knew the bomb was real. They believe he thought he was helping with a staged robbery, unaware he had been set up to be the fall guy. In the eyes of law enforcement, Brian Wells became both a participant and a victim, cooperating with dangerous people who ultimately betrayed him. Brian's family strongly rejects the idea that he was involved in any way. They described him as gentle, trusting, and easily pressured. They insist he would never have worn the device willingly and he was used by manipulative individuals who viewed him as expendable. That conflict between the official narrative and the family's unwavering belief keeps the case alive in public debate. In 2007, a federal grand jury indicts Diehl Armstrong and Barnes on charges including robbery and conspiracy. Rothstein has already passed away. Stockton remains protected under immunity. Barnes receives 45 years in federal prison. Diehl Armstrong receives life without parole. And yet, even with convictions, countless questions remain unanswered. Netflix's Evil Genius reignites interest years later, breaking down the case for millions of viewers. The caller, the scavenger hunt, the footage of Brian sitting on the pavement as time runs out. What grips people most is not just the crime, it's the haunting ambiguity. Was Brian Wells choosing to help dangerous people? Was he coerced? Was he deceived until it was too late? Where does responsibility begin and end when everyone involved is lying to someone? Today, the Brian Wells case stands as one of the most complicated investigations in FBI history, equal parts puzzle, tragedy, and cautionary tale. For those who watched it unfold live on television, it's something else entirely, a reminder that even the most ordinary moments, a phone call for pizza, a quiet drive, a delivery at the edge of town, can lead into darkness no one sees coming. In August 2023, a high school football game in Oklahoma was unfolding under the bright stadium lights. The stands were filled with families, students, and longtime locals, all cheering, laughing, and enjoying what felt like a classic small-town Friday night. Nothing about the energy hinted that the next few minutes would shatter that sense of normalcy. It was supposed to be just another spirited matchup, and then without warning, everything changed.
What is going on?
What's happening?
I have no idea what's happening. What is going on? Oh, we've got people shooting.
Oh my goodness, where?
I don't know. People are down on the field. That's crazy. Oh, man.
Everybody get down.
During the live broadcast of the game, the camera kept rolling as a cluster of sharp, jarring gunshots cut through the noise of cheering crowds. The sound was unmistakable. Within seconds, panic rippled across the stadium. Players sprinted off the field, spectators scrambled over bleachers, diving for cover and grabbing their young ones as chaos swallowed the night. Police quickly determined the shots came from the visitors' side, where a heated confrontation had broken out and spiraled violently out of control. Officers immediately fanned across the area, searching for anyone acting suspicious or attempting to flee before the situation could get even worse.
Hey, shoot, shot fire! Hey! Holy shit! Get up! Grab the gun! Fucking gun! Hold on! Get on the fucking ground now! Kill you! Don't you fucking move!
Got him?
Grab him.
Got him?
Yeah. Somebody handcuff him. I ain't got handcuffs. Neither do I. Mine's on the other guy. Put him on.
In the frantic aftermath, police spotted a 15-year-old boy running from the stadium and gave chase. During the pursuit, officers opened fire, striking him before taking him into custody. He was initially arrested and charged with second-degree murder, but those charges were later dropped due to insufficient evidence linking him to the shooting. Meanwhile, a 16-year-old boy had been fatally wounded in the chaos, adding another devastating layer to an already tragic night. The confusion didn't end there. An off-duty police officer working security misidentified a 43-year-old man as the shooter and shot him in the chest during the mayhem. He survived, but the mistake left the community stunned and questioning everything about how the incident was handled. And nearly 2 years later, despite investigations, interviews, and countless hours of reviewing footage, the case remains deeply frustrating. The true identity of the shooter is still unknown, a chilling reminder that a single violent moment can leave behind a trail of unanswered questions long after the stadium lights go dark. The knock at the door came out of nowhere, sharp and cold against the quiet night. Jim Fitzgerald, the head groom of the legendary Irish racehorse Shergar, answered it expecting a neighbor or a late delivery, anything ordinary. Instead, he found two men standing in the doorway, their faces hidden by balaclavas and their guns fully visible. Their first words were enough to freeze him in place. "We've come for Shergar. We want $3 million. In that instant, Fitzgerald understood that nothing about the night would end peacefully. His pulse hammered as the masked man forced him at gunpoint toward Shergar's stable. He tried to speak, to reason, to stall, but the terror was overwhelming. Before they even reached the barn, 6 more armed men emerged from the shadows, surrounding him like a trap snapping shut. Shergar, calm and unsuspecting, stood in his stall as the men loaded him into a horse box. He had no idea who was being stolen in what would become one of the most infamous kidnappings in history. It was February 8th, 1983, and the world's most valuable racehorse was about to disappear without a trace. Shoved into a waiting car, Fitzgerald felt helpless as the kidnappers sped through a maze of rural Irish roads. A man in the front seat waved a revolver, muttering threats about what would happen if he didn't cooperate. Fitzgerald's thoughts raced wildly. Fear for himself, fear for Shergar, fear for what men willing to commit such a brazen crime might do next. After hours of driving in circles, the gang finally threw him out onto the side of a dark road like discarded evidence. Disoriented but alive, he managed to reach a phone and call his brother. His call triggered immediate panic among Shergar's circle, but in the chaos, one crucial mistake was made. No one contacted the authorities for hours. Precious time slipped away. By the time law enforcement was finally notified, the kidnappers in Shergar were long gone. The story exploded across the world. Shergar wasn't just another racehorse. He was a legend worth over $15 million. He had stunned the racing world by winning the 1981 Epsom Derby by 10 commanding lengths, a performance that cemented his reputation as one of the greatest racehorses ever bred. After retiring, he became a champion breeding stallion, his future as valuable as his past. But all that potential vanished the night armed men rolled him into the darkness. Soon, a ransom call came through, a coded message demanding a multi-million-dollar payout, but the negotiation turned into a nightmare. Shergar's owners and the wider racing community feared that paying would set a precedent that could endanger every elite horse in Ireland. If they gave in, no stable would ever be safe again. As a result, the ransom was never paid. Calls from the kidnappers continued, but everyone ended abruptly, deliberately cut short before police could trace them. It became a high-stakes game with no rules and no way to win. The case devolved into a media circus. Reporters mobbed trainers, jockeys, veterinarians, anyone remotely tied to Shergar. A negotiator was even sent to Belfast in hopes of opening a dialogue, but the kidnappers refused to budge. Then one day later, a chilling final message came through. The horse has had an accident. He's dead. Hope evaporated. The kidnappers later claimed Shergar had panicked, become uncontrollable, and was shot. But because the body was never found, no one could confirm the story, leaving open the horrifying possibility that his final moments were far from brutal. Years later, an IRA member turned informant confessed involvement, but the group itself denied playing any role. The truth, like Shergar himself, vanished into the Irish countryside. Decades later, the fate of Shergar remains one of Ireland's greatest unsolved mysteries, a crime without closure, a legend without a grave, and a story that still haunts the world of racing. Marina Mina was born in Indonesia on March 30th, 1988, one of a pair of twins. Her sister Sandy stayed close to home, while Mina grabbed an opportunity that felt like a dream, studying design in Australia. She enrolled at Billy Blue Design College in Sydney, where she quickly found a small circle of fellow Indonesians who made the foreign city feel a little more like home. Hanny Boone, Jessica Wongso, Vera Rusley, Arif Somarno, and Mina Salihin became inseparable, eating together, studying together, and forming the kind of friendships that feel like family. When college ended, life pulled them in different directions. Mina Mina, Hani, and Arif returned to Indonesia, while Jessica stayed behind, eventually becoming a permanent resident of Australia in 2014. When Mina later visited Australia, she and Jessica met up again, hoping to relive old times. On the surface, it was a friendly reunion between former best friends, but years apart had changed them. The conversation shifted quickly from nostalgia to tension. Over a meal at a restaurant, Jessica opened up about her boyfriend. He was broke, abusive, and entangled in drugs. Mina, blunt but concerned, urged her to leave him before things got worse. Jessica didn't take it as concern. She took it as judgment. She stormed away from the table in anger, leaving Mina to pay the bill alone. That moment didn't just end a lunch, it quietly ended their friendship. Mina went back to Indonesia and moved on with her life. Jessica did not. In the years that followed, Jessica's life spiraled. She battled depression, attempted to end her life more than once, and ended up in hospital 5 separate times. Instead of stabilizing, her mental state deteriorated. By 2015, she was abusing alcohol, and one night, she crashed her car while driving under the influence. Miraculously, she didn't take anyone else's life, but she was seriously injured and later fined for causing the accident. She eventually recovered physically, but her life never truly got back on track. She lost her job 4 months after the crash, adding financial strain to the emotional chaos already tearing her down. Back in Indonesia, Mina's path couldn't have looked more different. Her relationship with her former classmate, Arif Sumarno, grew stronger, and in November 2015, the two were married in a beautiful ceremony in Bali, surrounded by friends and family. One person who was not there, nor even told about the wedding, was Jessica. Despite the falling out, Jessica believed she still deserved to be invited. Learning she'd been completely excluded cut deep. Feeling rejected and adrift, she decided to fly back to Indonesia, maybe going home, being around familiar faces, and reconnecting with old friends. Especially Mina might fix something inside her. When she landed in Jakarta, Jessica reached out to Mina and asked if they could meet. Mina felt uneasy. The sudden peace offering didn't feel entirely sincere, so she told her husband Arif about it. Arif suggested that Mina should not meet Jessica alone. Instead, they agreed Mina would bring a mutual friend, Hani. The 3 women settled on a coffee meetup on January 6, 2016 at 5 p.m. at Olivier, a stylish restaurant on the ground floor of a large mall in central Jakarta. Jessica insisted on paying for their drinks, even when they offered to get their own. The 3 of them shared a WhatsApp group, and in that chat, Mina had mentioned that she loved Vietnamese iced coffee. That detail would soon become horrifyingly important. Jessica arrived unusually early, around 3:30 p.m., more than an hour before they were due to meet. She requested a table in the non-smoking area and then started acting strangely. CCTV footage later showed her scanning the restaurant, looking around nervously, as if making sure of sightlines and blind spots. After a while, she left and went upstairs to a shop in the West Mall. There, she ordered 3 bars of soap and asked the clerk to put each in its own small bag. When she returned to Olivier at about 4:15 p.m., she placed the 3 bags on the table and then headed to the bar to order drinks. 2 cocktails, a Sazerac, and an old-fashioned, and the Vietnamese iced coffee Mina had once said she loved. The cameras showed Jessica continually glancing around the restaurant, studying the walls and ceiling like she was searching for surveillance cameras. She insisted on sitting at table 54, a more private spot facing the wall, and turned down other available seats. About 45 minutes before Mina and Hani arrived, Jessica positioned the 3 soap bags so they blocked the view of the drinks from the CCTV. The footage doesn't clearly show what she did behind those bags, but she can be seen moving the glasses around, adjusting things just out of sight. Whatever she did, she finished before her friends ever reached the restaurant. At 5:16 p.m., Mina and Hani arrived. The women greeted each other, and Mina picked up her Vietnamese iced coffee. Almost immediately after her first sip, she complained that something was wrong with the taste. She grew irritated and uneasy, asking her friends to try the drink themselves. They refused. Within seconds, the situation escalated from mild annoyance to outright alarm. Mina became visibly distressed, coughing and struggling as her body reacted to whatever she had just swallowed. In less than a minute, she collapsed. People nearby rushed to help. Hani looked genuinely horrified, while Jessica's behavior took a different turn. She immediately began loudly accusing the restaurant of putting something in Mina's drink, trying to steer suspicion away from herself before anyone had even suggested foul play. Mina never made it to safety. Despite efforts to get her to a hospital only a short distance away, she passed away before they arrived. The police were called and an investigation started almost at once. Staff at the restaurant told investigators that they had served 9 other Vietnamese iced coffees that day to different customers, and none of those people had suffered any adverse effects. Lab analysis of Mina's drink revealed the truth. It contained cyanide, a deadly poison that stops the body cells from using oxygen, causing death in minutes. Cyanide was also found in Mina's system during the autopsy. The evidence began circling around Jessica. She had arrived extremely early, specifically chosen a more secluded table, blocked the camera's view with shopping bags, and ordered the drinks long before her friends turned up. She alone controlled the beverages before anyone else sat down. She was also the first to loudly accuse the restaurant of tampering with coffee, pushing the narrative before anyone else even had time to think. To investigators, it didn't look like coincidence, it looked like planning. On January 30th, 2016, police arrested Jessica. As detectives dug deeper, Jessica's past painted an even darker picture. Former co-workers, an ex-boyfriend, and records from Australian authorities all described troubling behavior and patterns that fit with someone capable of calculated harm. In October 2016, after a high-profile trial, Jessica Wongso was found guilty of poisoning and killing her former friend, Mina Salihin, with cyanide-laced coffee. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison. For Mina's family, and for the friends who once thought of Jessica as one of their own, it was a brutal reminder that sometimes the person you sit down to share a drink with isn't looking to reconnect. They're there to make sure you never get up again. The story opens up in the quiet center of Stellenbosch, a university town about 50 kilometers from Cape Town, South Africa. It's just after 3 in the morning, drifting between May 26th and May 27th, 2017. Nearly every light in the city is off. The streets are empty. Only the street lamps, a few security patrols, and a handful of grainy CCTV cameras are awake. On one of those cameras, an old blue and white Volkswagen pulls into a parking area and comes to a stop. Inside the car are two friends, 21-year-old Hannah Cornelius and music student Cheslin Marsh, sharing a quiet conversation after a night out with classmates. It's that peaceful, familiar end-of-evening moment where you linger a little longer because neither of you wants the night to end just yet. But on the far edge of the frame, 4 figures appear. At first, they seem like ordinary pedestrians. They walk past without hesitation. Then after a few steps, they pause. They turn around, they drift back toward the parked car. And even through the blurry camera footage, you can feel the atmosphere shift. The air thickens. The sense of safety inside the little Volkswagen evaporates. In the next instant, the passenger door flies open. Chaos erupts. Arms thrash. Bodies struggle. Someone inside screams. For the camera, it lasts only seconds. For Hannah and Cheslin, it is the moment their lives split into before and after. 10 minutes later, the same Volkswagen races out of the parking lot and vanishes into the sleeping streets of Stellenbosch. That short clip, just a few silent seconds of CCTV, would become the anchor point of one of the most devastating cases in South African criminal history. And to understand its weight, you have to understand who Hannah was and how she ended up in that car that exact moment. Hannah Cornelius was born in Cape Town in 1996, raised in a loving home filled with music, books, and kindness. Her father, William, worked as a respected lawyer. Her mother, Anna, taught music. Their house was warm, full of piano notes and conversations about art, learning, and compassion. Hannah was the kind of person friends describe with soft voices, gentle, brilliant, and pathetic. Teachers remembered her as an exceptional student who listened with her whole heart. When she spoke with someone, she gave them her full attention. No distractions, no pretenses, just genuine care. She excelled academically and musically. She adored the outdoors, the mountains, the ocean breeze. She learned languages easily and dreamed of becoming a translator or teacher, someone who connected people through words. In 2017, she was in her second year at Stellenbosch University, studying languages and philosophy. She drove daily in her grandmother's old blue Volkswagen, the same car now recorded on that grainy camera. Her friendship with Cheslin was simple and sincere. They met at university, shared conversations about classes and life, and formed that quiet type of friendship built on comfort rather than noise. No romance, just two kind-hearted people who understood each other. On the night of May 26th, Hannah and Cheslin joined friends at a local bar. They talked, laughed, and unwound from the pressures of student life. It was late, much later than Hannah usually stayed out. When they finally decided to head home, Hannah walked to her student residence with Cheslin beside her. He didn't want her walking alone. She didn't want him walking alone either, so she insisted on driving him the rest of the way. A simple act of care, an instinct for safety, the kind of kindness Hannah was known for. Around 3:23 a.m., CCTV captured her car parking near Cheslin's home. They kept talking, unaware that 4 men, members of a local gang, were walking toward them down the road. These men were already known for robberies and attacks. They were wandering the dark streets looking for opportunity. A car with 2 unsuspecting students inside looked perfect. At around 3:30 a.m., one of the men yanked the passenger door open. A screwdriver and knife glinted in the dim light. In a heartbeat, Cheslin was shoved into the back seat. Hannah was pinned between the front seats, frightened and terrified. The attackers grabbed their belongings, phones, wallets, bags, and searched the car. When they were done, one member of the group walked away from the scene. The remaining 3 decided the night was far from over. By 3:40 a.m., Hannah's Volkswagen sped away with 3 attackers and 2 kidnapped students inside. From that moment on, the night descended into nightmare cruelty. The men drove into the semi-rural areas outside Stellenbosch. They demanded Cheslin's bank card PIN. Fearing for both their lives, he gave them one. The car stopped. The men forced Cheslin into the trunk. When they reached the fuel fuel station around 4:34 a.m., CCTV footage showed one of the attackers trying to use the card, but the pin failed. Attempts were ejected. Anxiety rose. They fled again. Hannah pleaded with them, promising they could take everything if they would just let them go. But the men were not negotiating. Sometime after leaving the fuel station, they dragged Cheslin from the trunk, beat him severely, and left him by the side of the road, assuming he would not survive. They drove away with Hannah. Hours later, as dawn crept over the countryside, a couple heard desperate noises outside their home. A disoriented young man, bloody, injured, terrified, stood in their yard. They thought he might be part of a gang and told them to leave, but he begged them to listen. He said he needed help, that he couldn't go back to where he'd come from, that he just wanted to call his mother. It was Cheslin. He staggered away, trying to stay upright. Then he spotted a passing police vehicle. He ran toward it, waving, pleading. The officer stopped. He collapsed as he told them the nightmare he just escaped. Descriptions of the men, the threats, the weapons, the car, the remote fields. He didn't yet know that Hannah had already been found. Her life had been taken. Police launched an enormous operation. The attackers continued committing crimes, robbing a woman on her way to work, abducting another woman and forcing her to withdraw money before finally being pursued by officers. Two were caught after abandoning the Volkswagen. Another was arrested the next day. Their own statements and mountains of CCTV footage connected them to the crimes. In May 2018, the trial began. 3 men received life sentences. The fourth, who left before the worst acts occurred, received a long sentence for robbery and kidnapping. Cheslin testified with courage, even while living with permanent injuries, including partial hearing loss. He spoke about Hannah with deep respect, how her kindness that night saved his life, even as it cost her own. The grief that followed devastated everyone connected to her. Less than a year after Hannah's death, her mother passed away near the sea in Scarborough. In 2024, her father died suddenly as well. Hannah's younger brother, who is on the autism spectrum, still asks when his sister is coming home. Cheslin continued forward with quiet resilience. He returned to the university, choosing to study law. He wanted to stand up for victims because he knows what it means to survive and because he carries Hannah's memory with him. The story of Hannah Cornelius is heartbreaking because it shows how quickly a harmless night can turn catastrophic, how a single act of kindness driving a friend home placed her at the center of something cruel beyond imagination. But it's also a story of courage, empathy, and the legacy of a young woman who acted out of care until the very end. It was Mother's Day, May 9th, 2021, and the Bailey household in St. Johns County, Florida, woke up expecting a day of small celebrations, family routines, and simple joy. Forrest and Stacy Bailey were getting ready for the day, their home bustling with the usual weekend activity. But when Stacy realized their 13-year-old daughter Tristan wasn't anywhere to be seen, the mood shifted instantly. At first, she assumed Tristan had overslept and sent one of Tristan's siblings to wake her. When they reached her room, the bed was empty. No note, no sign of where she'd gone. Stacy called out through the house, checked every room, and asked each family member if they'd seen Tristan that morning. No one had. Within moments, a sense of dread settled over the family. Tristan wasn't answering. She wasn't home. Something was wrong. Stacy contacted the police to report her daughter missing, and what should have been a peaceful holiday morning turned into a nightmare. The community mobilized almost immediately. Neighbors formed search parties, law enforcement arrived quickly, and local news stations began broadcasting Tristan's description. Tristan Bailey was the youngest of 5 children. Born in Singapore on January 18, 2008, she had grown up in a loving, tight-knit family. Friends and relatives described her as energetic, kind, and unfailingly supportive of the people around her. Her mother called her a powerful presence in a small body, someone who gave a lot of herself to so many others. Tristan attended Patriot Oaks Academy and proudly cheered on her school as a member of the cheerleading team. The neighborhood where they lived was constantly safe, quiet, and family-friendly. Police presence was rare. Serious crime was almost unheard of. So when word spread that a young teen had vanished, the entire county went on high alert. As detectives began interviewing Tristan's relatives and friends, one name kept coming up: Aiden Fucci, a male schoolmate. Several students told police that Aiden had been bragging for weeks that he wanted to kill someone and drag them into the woods. Even more disturbing, they said he had set a rough timeline, Around a month before Tristan disappeared, he reportedly claimed he was going to do it in about a month. Friends also said he carried 2 blades and had given them names. What might have sounded like edgy talk or dark jokes suddenly looked like something else, a warning no one realized was real until it was too late. One of the teens interviewed was Fuchi's friend Abshir. He told investigators that Fuchi had asked him for Tristan's phone number. The day before Tristan went missing, Aiden called her and convinced her to hang out. In the early hours of Mother's Day, Tristan and Aiden met up at Abshir's house. Later, the two left together. When questioned, Aiden admitted he had been with Tristan at Abshir's place and said they left at about 1:10 a.m. He claimed they walked together along North Durban Parkway and then went their separate ways, saying he arrived home at 3:30 a.m. That timing made no sense. The walk between their homes should have taken around 30 minutes. Where had he really been during the extra hour and a half? When asked, Aiden said he had wandered around to clear his head. The explanation didn't sit right with detectives, but suspicion alone wasn't enough. They needed evidence. While they continued to question him, Aiden was placed in the back of a patrol vehicle awaiting transport. Instead of staying quiet, he pulled out his phone, jumped on social media, snapped selfies, and posted them online. One of them saying, "Hey guys, has anybody seen Tristan lately?" He also posted a video referencing her disappearance, acting casual and detached in a moment most people would be terrified.
In a fucking cop car. Yep. Tristan. What's up, guys? Yep. Tristan, if you fucking walk out the damn... When you see this in a month...
Meanwhile, police combed through surveillance footage from the surrounding neighborhoods. At 1:45 a.m., a camera on Saddlestone Drive captured Tristan and Aiden walking together. A short time later, the same camera recorded Aiden running back alone in the opposite direction. Tristan was nowhere to be seen. In that second clip, Aiden was still holding his white shoes. Later, those shoes would become critical evidence. Detectives brought Aiden back in and questioned him again. This time, his story changed. He claimed that Tristan had tried to touch him inappropriately and that he got angry. He said he pushed her and she fell and hit her head on something. He did not mention a weapon. He did not mention a struggle in the woods. His explanation was vague and didn't match the growing sense of horror forming in investigators' minds. Later that day, a local resident, out for a jog, decided to take a slightly different route than usual near a retention pond south of Jacksonville. That small decision led straight into the heart of the case. The runner spotted a body near the water and called authorities. The victim was soon identified as Tristan Bailey. 2 hours after the discovery, officers searched the pond area and found the lower portion of a knife, its blade broken and missing. That missing blade would eventually be found lodged in Tristan's head. The autopsy revealed what can only be described as a frenzied attack. Tristan had been stabbed 114 times. Many of the wounds were clustered around her head, neck, and hands. 49 of them were identified as defensive injuries, meaning Tristan fought desperately to protect herself as she was attacked. The sheer brutality of the assault suggested rage, obsession, or both. On her ankles, the words karma and a smiley face were scratched or written, adding an extra layer of cruelty to the already horrific scene. When police searched Aiden Fuchi's home, they found a sheath matching the recovered knife. The white clothing he had been seen wearing on CCTV was stained with blood. Some of those clothes had been washed after he was contacted by authorities, an apparent attempt to destroy evidence. His mother, Crystal Smith, was caught on surveillance trying to help clean blood from his clothes and was heard telling him to stick to his story. This didn't just implicate Aiden, it pulled his family directly into the aftermath of what he'd done. Aiden was arrested on May 10th and initially charged with second-degree murder. As more evidence came together, the Tinder timeline, the stabbing count, the surveillance, the social media posts, the charge was upgraded to first-degree murder just 15 days later. Crystal Smith was charged with tampering with evidence and later sentenced to 30 days in jail. During one pre-trial hearing, Aiden appeared via Zoom, his behavior unsettling. He rocked back and forth, looked around strangely, and mumbled about demons taking my soul away, leaving observers wondering whether it was genuine distress or another performance.
I won't let you demons. I won't let you demons take my soul. You demons will take my soul away. I won't let you demons steal my soul. I don't know what's going on. I see you. What's going on? What you got going on? Why am I here? I just want to talk to my mom and dad. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
On February 6, 2023, Aiden Fucci pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. In court, he admitted what he had done and offered an apology to Tristan's family. It was too little, too late. The judge sentenced him to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years before he can even be considered for parole. For Tristan's loved ones and the community that searched for her, the sentence was a measure of accountability, but it could never replace the vibrant 13-year-old whose life was taken in the dark on a night that was supposed to begin with nothing more dangerous than a walk. Matthew Trussler was born on January 11, 1994 and grew up in Massachusetts, surrounded by family, friends, and the kind of normalcy that doesn't make headlines. People who knew him described him as a hard worker who still knew how to enjoy himself. He loved animals, stayed close to his relatives, and built a reputation for being dependable. After graduating from Westfield State University, he took a job at an Italian restaurant, climbing the ranks until he became general manager. It wasn't a glamorous life, but it was stable, and it showed his ability to commit and succeed. Still, Matthew wanted more opportunity, more sunshine, more room to grow. In 2015, he moved to the Tampa Bay area of Florida to live with his brother Sean. His work ethic and personality helped him land solid jobs quickly. He worked first for a technology company and later secured a position with a residential insulation company. Things were moving in the right direction. Then in 2017, he met Melissa Turner. Melissa had her own complicated story. She worked in video content creation, specifically as a cam model, producing adult content online. It wasn't how she imagined her life at first. Melissa had struggled with self-image and confidence when she was younger, often feeling judged for her appearance. Over time, she found a way to turn those insecurities into income, building an online presence and a certain kind of independence. When she and Matthew met, their relationship seemed passionate and full of potential. By late 2018, the pair were so comfortable with each other that Matthew started appearing in some of Melissa's online content. They posted together in social media, smiling in photos and projecting an image of a couple deeply in love. Two people with a house, pets, and a future that looked enviable from the outside. At one point, an ex-boyfriend of Melissa's even threatened Matthew with a gun, angry and jealous over their relationship, which only made their bond appear stronger from the outside. In September 2018, Melissa publicly gushed about the relationship, saying things were excellent and that she was just as happy a year and a half into dating as she was at the start. Matthew echoed similar sentiments online. For his 25th birthday, he wrote a cheerful post about having a mortgage, a dog, 4 fur babies, and a wonderful girlfriend. He joked about feeling older because he woke up at 6:30 a.m. without an alarm. To friends and followers, it looked like they were living a dream, a young couple in Florida, sharing a home and building a life together. Behind closed doors, though, the picture was very different. In 2019, the couple bought a 4-bedroom house in Riverview, Florida. Neighbors would later testify that they often heard the two shouting at each other. Arguments were frequent and intense. What looked like couple goals on social media was in reality a volatile, increasingly toxic relationship. Still, they kept up the facade, posting pictures and updates that masked the growing cracks. On September 23, 2019, Matthew shared a cryptic message on Facebook: "Don't be a fool and blame others. Fight your own war." He also changed his relationship status to single. To outsiders, it might have looked like a typical breakup post. For investigators looking back, it marked a turning point. Less than a month later, on the morning of October 18, 2019, a 911 call came in. It was Melissa. She told the operator that her boyfriend Matthew was unresponsive. She claimed to have found him in the backyard, not knowing what had happened.
I woke up on my boyfriend. He was outside this morning. He's cold. He was just drinking. He's cold. I feel cold.
Hello?
I need paramedics.
When paramedics arrived at the house, it was immediately clear that something terrible had taken place. Despite their efforts, Matthew couldn't be revived and was pronounced dead at the scene. He wasn't just unconscious, he had been attacked. He had multiple wounds on his back, as well as defensive injuries on his arms and hands, the kind someone suffers when they're trying desperately to protect themselves from a weapon. At first, Melissa said she simply discovered his body and had no idea what led to his injuries. But when she was taken to the station in question, her story started to shift. She told detectives that Matthew had come home drunk in the early hours of the morning and become physically aggressive. According to her, he grabbed a kitchen knife and tried to attack her. She claimed she fought back, injuring her own hand in the struggle, and ultimately stabbed him in the back while he was strangling her. In her version, it was a desperate act of self-defense. Investigators listened, but they also looked at the evidence. Neighbors had a security camera facing the area near the house. While the wooden fence blocked the camera from capturing what happened visually, it recorded the audio. Between 4:32 a.m. and 4:45 a.m., the microphone picked up a series of sounds: yelling, crashing, glass breaking, and Melissa's voice repeatedly screaming phrases like "I hate you" and "F you." At 4:45 a.m., the audio captured her shouting, "No, what did I do?" Around that same time, Matthew's smartwatch registered his heart rate, then showed it stopping completely. The timing painted a different picture from the one Melissa tried to give. Even more troubling, she waited roughly 4 hours after that point to call 911. If she had acted solely to defend herself and had panicked accidentally, why wait so long to seek help? Combined with the defensive wounds on Matthew's body and the hostile audio recorded by the neighbor's camera, the narrative of self-defense became harder to believe. The investigation continued, and prosecutors eventually charged Melissa Turner with second-degree murder. At trial, her team maintained that she had acted to protect herself, but the jury weighed the physical evidence, the audio recording, the 4-hour delay, and the severity of Matthew's injuries. In the end, they rejected her claim of self-defense. Melissa was found guilty of second-degree murder for the killing of Matthew Trussler and sentenced to 20 years and 6 months in prison. Behind the glossy images and curated posts, a relationship that once looked picture-perfect had ascended into violence, and only one of them walked away. Mahmoud Al-Mabou walked into the polished lobby of Dubai's Al Bustan Rotana Hotel like a man convinced he had finally outrun every shadow that had chased him for years. The marble floors gleamed. Soft music floated through the air. Business travelers and tourists lounged in armchairs, sipping tea, tapping on laptops, glancing at their phones. It looked like the safest place in the world, clean, luxurious, predictable. And for a man who had spent years slipping across borders under false names, that sense of normalcy must have felt like a warm blanket. What he didn't know was that the very calm he relied on was about to become the stage of one of the most dissected covert missions in modern history. For decades, Israel considered Al-Mabou to be a high-level architect of weapons operations, arranging shipments from Iran into Gaza, coordinating training paths, and previously playing a role in the 1989 kidnapping of 2 Israeli soldiers. From Mossad's perspective, he wasn't just a target, he was a priority, and yet for years, he moved quietly enough to evade assassination attempts and stay ahead of intelligence networks. New passports, safe houses, unpredictable travel routes. He was used to danger and believed he understood it well. But Dubai changed his calculations. It felt stable. He assumed Mossad would never attempt something bold in a city drowned in cameras and constant surveillance. Ironically, that is exactly what made the operation possible. Dubai sees everything. Its airports, hotels, elevators, parking lots, and hallways are blanketed with cameras, each silently recording every face, every step, every suitcase. The system that made Al-Mabou feel safe would also become the very tool that exposed one of the most precise intelligence missions ever carried out. Days before he arrived, Mossad teams slipped into Dubai in waves. They came disguised as ordinary tourists and business travelers, carrying tennis rackets, shopping bags, gym attire, nothing suspicious. Their forged passports were nearly flawless, created with a level of detail that fooled immigration systems across multiple countries. They checked into separate hotels to avoid patterns and operated in small, self-contained units. Surveillance teams tailed Al-Mabou's expected routes. Technical teams intercepted keycard data and mapped hotel layouts. Disguised specialists rotated wigs, jackets, glasses, and hats every time they appeared near a camera. The final entry and execution team stayed completely invisible until the moment their work was required. On January 19, 2010, Al-Mabou landed in Dubai. He walked calmly through immigration, unaware that several people standing near him were Mossad agents tracking his exact steps. The moment his passport was scanned, watchers monitoring the system flagged his arrival. The silent pursuit began instantly. He traveled to Al Bustan Rotana Hotel and checked into room 230. The moment the elevator doors closed behind him, Mossad teams repositioned. Surveillance tightened. One agent followed for a short distance and then peeled off. Another took over. A third stood near the elevators pretending to wait for someone. Each appearance was carefully timed so no single face repeated in any recognizable pattern. Once they confirmed his room, the mission entered its most sensitive phase. A specialized entry team moved in, carrying equipment designed to override the hotel's electronic lock without leaving evidence. They entered room 230 while Al-Mabou was still out, with one operative posing as a hotel staff member to watch the hallway. The others inspected his belongings, installed surveillance devices, and prepared the room. When they left, not a crease or dust particle suggested the room had been disturbed. Hours later, Al-Mabou returned from errands, unaware that his room had already been infiltrated. He closed the door behind him and stepped directly into the trap. As he walked deeper inside, he was hit with a sudden shock from a stun device, fast, silent, and paralyzing. He collapsed onto the bed, unable to resist. According to forensic analysis, operatives then used fast-acting suffocation methods, leaving almost no external injuries, no loud struggle, no broken furniture, no cries heard by neighboring rooms. Within minutes, room 230 looked immaculate again. The bedding smooth, surfaces wiped clean, window cracked open slightly to slow the odor of death. The team walked out calmly, passing through the lobby like ordinary hotel guests. By sunrise, many of them were already boarding outbound flights. Others, replacement teams, were entering Dubai as the original operatives left. It was that seamless. The next afternoon, a hotel staff member checked on room 230 after noticing that Al-Mabou had not left. They found him motionless on the bed. At first glance, nothing looked suspicious, but experienced investigators noticed faint marks near his ear, subtle discoloration. Something felt wrong. Then Dubai's greatest strength turned the entire mission inside out. Their citywide camera network recorded everything. Investigators began reviewing the footage, assembling pieces like a puzzle. The same faces appearing in different hotels wearing different wigs, groups meeting briefly, splitting, reuniting, operatives trailing Al-Mabou with perfect timing, disguises flipping instantly in restrooms and elevators, coordinated exits only minutes after the mission ended. Dubai reconstructed nearly the entire operation, step by step, disguise by disguise, flight by flight. When they released the footage publicly on February 15, 2010, the world watched what looked like a real-life spy thriller unfold in grainy surveillance clips. Governments erupted in anger when they saw their passport designs used in the operation. Diplomatic tension surged. Israel issued no comment as expected, but globally, intelligence communities quietly acknowledged what the footage confirmed. The operation had been executed with near-perfect precision. Dubai identified more than 25 operatives, but they had all left the country before anyone even suspected a crime. And one detail, perhaps the most mysterious, remains unsolved to this day. How did Mossad know the exact room number before Al-Mabou even reached the door? Dubai never found the answer. What is certain is that by the time he checked into room 230, the mission was already over. Every step he took was tracked. Every disguise was in place. Every camera quietly filmed the shadows moving around him. And within a few hours, one of the most studied covert operations in modern history was complete. On April 23, 2025, a Fairfax County officer pulled over a worn-out 1999 Toyota Corolla for something routine, an expired inspection sticker, which should have been a simple stop, maybe a warning, maybe a citation, almost instantly shifted into something far more dangerous.
A heck of a stop, sir. I have a gun and I'm armed, I'll let you know. So why did you pull me over? Your inspection sticker expired last. Call Joe Biden or call George Bush. What's your driver's license? No, there's no. I don't have a driving license. Why not? Go back, sit in the car and leave. Can I get your name? No. No? No. Oh, I have kids and I have a lot of bullshit things. Why you treat me this way? Can I get a supervisor to my location, please? I can't even go back to my country because of you. I started in arm.
The moment the officer approached the window, he sensed a tension simmering beneath the surface, as though the driver's frustration had been waiting for the smallest spark to erupt. Behind the wheel was 36-year-old Jamal Wally, and from the second he opened his mouth, it was clear this encounter wouldn't be easy. Wally unleashed a furious rant, venting about the United States, about the people in it, and how he felt targeted and mistreated. His anger wasn't just heated, it was volatile, pacing back and forth between complaints and direct hostility. The officer, realizing how unpredictable the situation was becoming, requested backup immediately. He knew he could not afford to misread a single movement, but things escalated even faster than he expected.
People brought me to this goddamn country, and I'm dying every single day, and I have 4 children, and we wholly survive because you're a vicious people. Okay. Yeah, because I can't get a job, I can't get a disability, and they took my license because I'm not able to pay the insurance. So why are you trying to kill me? Don't reach for anything, dude. Don't unbuckle that. I'm telling you, don't reach. I'm telling you, don't reach. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
At one point during Wally's tirade, the officer noticed a subtle but unmistakable motion. Wally's hand drifted toward a firearm. In that instant, the tone of the stop changed completely. This was no longer a tense conversation. This was now a ticking threat, one wrong move away from erupting into violence.
For a lawful traffic stop. I don't give a damn, you liar.
I'm not lying.
No, you're lying.
It's obviously right there.
You are no. Today is
So
the
what
day,
I'm
buddy.
what I'm
Today's
asking
the day,
for
fucking
is you to
dumbass
identify
liars, white
yourself.
people. You lied for 25 years.
When the officer ordered him to keep his hands visible, Wally ignored every command. Instead, he leaned further into the chaos, still refusing to comply. He reached for a GoPro camera and switched it on, recording the entire scene as if he wanted proof of whatever he believed would unfold. His comments grew darker, more pointed, spoken with a kind of cold certainty that made the officer's pulse spike. Whatever narrative Wally had created in his mind, he was preparing to act on it.
You're going through a really rough time.
Man, I should have served with Taliban better than you. I was concerned and a fucking dumbass fuck when I was concerned about Taliban, but in America, since 2014, I'm concerned about more about you people. Because you lie, because you play games, that's how I'm going deeper, deeper, deeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Backup arrived quickly, but even their presence wasn't enough to slow the momentum. As the second officer stepped up and asked Wally for identification, the situation appeared to calm for a split second. Wally handed over his ID, looked cooperative for the first time, and then, without warning, reached for his gun again. The new officer lunged forward to stop him, but Wally was already pulling the trigger. Gunfire exploded across the roadside. 2 officers were stuck, thrown backward by the force of the rounds.
You want to get him out?
Hey, so listen, American. Take it. I take this with you, okay?
So now you want to
No.
Hey, don't you reach it.
No. Hey, don't you reach it. No.
The situation became a whirlwind of shouting, recoil, and desperate motion. But on the passenger side, a third officer had a clear angle. He returned fire with precision, hitting Wally 4 times and ending the threat before more lives were lost. The wounded officer survived with injuries that were thankfully not life-threatening. Jamal Wally, however, was pronounced deceased shortly after being rushed to the hospital. What began as a routine traffic stop ended in seconds of violence that no one on that road would ever forget. Proof of how quickly a simple decision behind the wheel can turn into something deadly when the wrong intent is lurking beneath the surface. Caroline Crouch was born in Athens, Greece on July 12, 2001. Her father, David Crouch, was a retired British engineer. Her mother, Susan de la Quista, was from the Philippines. When Caroline was 8, the family moved to the island of Alonisos, trading city streets for the quiet island life. She grew up surrounded by sea air, hillside scenery, and a close family who adored her. As she got older, Caroline developed a sharp mind and a taste for adventure. At 15, she met a 29-year-old commercial helicopter pilot named Babis Anagnostopoulos. Despite the age gap, their relationship quickly turned serious. Caroline continued her education, eventually studying statistics at the University of Piraeus, while Babis worked as a pilot, often presenting himself as a calm, successful professional. The couple married in 2019 while on holiday in Portugal, a picturesque ceremony that made it seem like a fairy tale romance. They settled into a 2-story home in the Athens suburb of Gligonera with their infant daughter, Lydia, a dog, and 4 cats. Babis loved motorbikes. Caroline enjoyed kickboxing and fitness. On social media, they looked like a young, happy family with a bright future. That carefully crafted image shattered on May 11, 2021. In the early hours of the morning, Babis called emergency services and reported what he described as a home invasion gone horribly wrong. When police arrived, they found him tied to a chair with tape, appearing exhausted and shaken. Upstairs, the scene was far more disturbing. Caroline was lying lifeless on the bed, their 11-month-old daughter nearby. The family dog Roxy had been killed and strung from a railing outside, as if to drive home just how ruthless the supposed intruders had been. Babis told officers that 4 masked men had broken into the house through a cellar window. He claimed they tied and blindfolded him, threatened the family, and demanded money. According to the story, he and Caroline kept cash at home because they were planning to buy land for a dream house, and the intruders had come for that money. He said Caroline tried to resist and was tortured before being killed, while he remained tied to a chair and helpless. The alleged burglars, he said, escaped with their cash and valuable jewelry. He described one of them as speaking broken Greek, hinting at foreign involvement. The case immediately gripped Greece. Authorities announced a hefty reward, 300,000 euros, for information leading to the perpetrators. Under pressure to catch the killers, police quickly arrested a 43-year-old man from Georgia a week later as he tried to cross into Bulgaria using a fake passport. He was believed to be part of a burglary ring that had targeted homes in the same area. including one near Caroline and Babis's house. There was, however, a major difference. In those cases, no one had been murdered. Investigators continued to chase leads, even announcing they were searching for an Albanian suspect. But despite days of interrogation, none of the arrested men appeared connected to Caroline's killing. Their stories didn't line up with the supposed home invasion, and nothing linked them to that specific night. The police realized they needed to re-examine the scene from another angle. They turned their attention to the couple's own security system. The CCTV cameras at the house raised immediate suspicion. Footage from around 1 a.m. showed Babis with her daughter, but at some point before the alleged invasion, the memory card from the cameras was removed. That meant there was no video of the actual break-in or the hours when the crime took place. The missing footage didn't look like an accident. It looked like someone had deliberately erased part of the timeline. Forensic analysis also failed to find any convincing physical evidence of intruders. No clear foreign DNA, no obvious tool marks consistent with the story. As detectives dug deeper, they uncovered Caroline's diary. In her own words, she described a marriage that was far from the perfect picture their social media profile suggested. She wrote about their growing distance, their arguments, and her desire to leave. One diary entry dated December 31st, 2019 captured her turmoil. She described a major argument with Babis where she hit him, cursed him, and he broke a door. She wrote that all she had wanted was for him to ask if she was okay when she woke up. She admitted she was thinking of leaving and going to stay with her sister, but felt trapped by how much she loved him, even as the relationship was harming her. Further entries suggested ongoing problems and that Caroline was considering taking their daughter and leaving him for good. Digital forensics added even more weight. Caroline's smartwatch recorded her heart rate and activity. On the night of her death, the data showed that she had been asleep around 4 a.m. Shortly afterward, her heart rate spiked and then went completely flat. That moment was about 20 minutes earlier than the time Babis claimed the supposed intruders attacked. At the same time, analysis of Babis's phone revealed that he had been moving around the house while he claimed to be tied up and incapacitated. Piece by piece, the robbery story fell apart. The missing CCTV card, the smartwatch data, the phone activity, the marital problems. For investigators, a new picture emerged. There had been no brutal gang of foreign burglars. Instead, it appeared Caroline's killer had been inside the house all along. About a month after Caroline's death, a memorial service was held in her honor. Babis attended alongside her grieving family, appearing as a devastated widower. During the service, police officers approached him and asked him to come in for further questioning. Once away from the mourners, they informed him he was under arrest. During investigation, Babis eventually confessed. He said that an argument with Caroline had escalated and she had pushed and punched him. He claimed he snapped and pressed a pillow over her face, smothering her for roughly 5 minutes until she stopped moving. After killing her, he staged the entire crime scene, tying himself up, killing the dog, scattering items to make it look like a violent home invasion. He then waited hours before calling the police. He was charged with murder, animal abuse, filing a false report, and providing false testimony. In court, the carefully crafted image of a loving husband and protective father crumbled completely. He was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison, with additional time for the other offenses. The story that had begun as a national tragedy blamed on faceless criminals ultimately revealed something far more chilling. A young mother killed in her own home, not by strangers, but by the person she had trusted enough to build a life with. Cash and Carter were twin brothers, born on September 12, 2016 in Houston, Texas. Like many youngsters their age, they loved video games, superheroes, and the simple joys of early childhood, running around the house, playing with siblings, and clinging to familiar faces. Their parents, Trevor Gernon and Melinda Seagroves, eventually separated, and the family structure shifted. The twins lived with their father, Trevor, who later moved them from Houston to Dallas to start a new chapter. Trevor began a relationship with a woman named Monica Sherrod, a 35-year-old single mother of 4, Cameron 18, Emily 16, Matthew 15, and Landon 14. Monica and her children moved into the home with Trevor and the twins. The house had 6 bedrooms, more than enough space for everyone, at least on paper. Trevor trusted Monica to care for Cash and Carter, especially when his own life started to drift off course. Trevor had growing legal issues. In 2018, he was jailed for 68 days after assaulting his father during an argument over a credit card transaction. Then, in November 2020, he was caught with drugs. The indictment for that offense was issued in March of the following year, but when the court date arrived, Trevor didn't show. He skipped the hearing, his $10,000 bond was forfeited, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Instead of turning himself in, Trevor fled back to Houston, leaving Cash and Carter behind in Dallas under Monica's care. By May 2021, the twins were living full-time in Monica's home with their 4 children. To outsiders, it might have looked like a crowded but functioning household. Then came May 15th, 2021, a date that would change everything. That morning, Monica believed the twins were still sleeping in their room. She later said she assumed they stayed in bed until about 10 a.m. When she went to check on them, only Carter was there. Cash was gone. Monica asked Carter where his brother was. The young boy told her that Cash had gone outside. Panic set in immediately. Monica and her biological children searched the neighborhood, calling out Cash's name and checking nearby streets and yards. He was nowhere. With growing fear, Monica called 911 to report Cash missing. What she didn't know was that someone else had already made a horrifying discovery. Earlier that morning, a neighbor out in the nearby area, known as Mountain Creek, had encountered a chilling sight along her jogging route, the body of a small boy lying in the street. She had contacted the police hours before Monica's call. When Monica reported Cash missing, authorities quickly connected the two events. Still, Monica clung to the hope that the body belonged to another child and that Cash might somehow still be safe. When she was asked to come to the location to confirm, her worst fears were realized. The deceased youngster was Cash. He had been stabbed multiple times. What had begun as a normal morning now became the center of a homicide investigation involving one of the most vulnerable victims imaginable. As detectives prepared to canvass the neighborhood and retrace the twins' last hours, one of Monica's children reminded them that there were CCTV cameras around the home, including one inside the room where the twins slept. That footage changed the trajectory of the case. On the recording, a figure could be seen entering the twins' bedroom in the middle of the night. The man moved quietly to the side of the bed where the twins slept and stood there for several moments, staring down at them. He then reached down, lifted Cash from his cot, and carried him out of the room. Carter remained behind, still asleep. The intruder's movements were deliberate and chillingly calm. Around 7:30 a.m., the same man returned to the bedroom. This time he stood over Carter's bed, appearing to examine him just as he had with Cash hours earlier. He bent down as if considering picking Carter up too, but then abruptly looked toward the doorway, startled by a sound from somewhere in the house. Instead of taking him, the man backed away, continuing to glance at Carter as he left the room and disappeared from the camera's view. The video provided a clear view of the intruder's face and body. Monica didn't need to guess who he was. She recognized him immediately. He was 18-year-old Darren Brown, an acquaintance of one of her children. 2 days earlier, Brown had been at the house when Monica wasn't home. When she returned, she found him interacting with the twins, and the sight made her uneasy. She ordered him to leave and warned him never to speak to the boys again. Now, seeing him on the footage taking Cash in the middle of the night, that unease transformed into horror. Police went to Brown's home. His mother insisted there must be a misunderstanding, but the evidence found there suggested otherwise. Officers recovered a pocket knife, an Adidas hoodie, black sneakers, and a blood-stained tissue. DNA testing later confirmed that the blood on those items belonged to Cash. Brown was still wearing an ankle monitor from a previous offense when he was arrested. After his arrest, neighbors began coming forward with additional stories. Brown had been caught on multiple other home security cameras, trespassing or breaking into houses in the area. In one previous incident, he had tried to snatch a 2-year-old, attacking the youngster's grandfather in the process. This history of strange and escalating behavior painted a grim picture of someone spiraling toward a violent crime. Brown was charged with capital murder, kidnapping, theft, burglary, and assault of an elderly person. His bond was set at $1.6 million. His mother and his attorney argued that he suffered from serious mental health issues and that he heard voices in his head. An initial psychiatric evaluation found him mentally unfit to stand trial. He was sent for treatment, and after spending years under psychiatric care, his condition was reassessed. Eventually, he was deemed competent to face charges. In October 2025, rather than risk a capital murder conviction and a possible death sentence, Brown accepted a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to killing Cash, which allowed prosecutors to drop the capital murder count. Even with with that concession, the punishment was severe. He was sentenced to life in prison. For Carter, who woke up in an empty bed, for Monica, who thought the twins were safe under her roof, and for Cash's parents, who were already grappling with their own mistakes. The damage could never be undone. A small boy was taken from his bed in the dark and never came back. The cameras captured the truth, but only after it was far too late to save him. This next incident begins with a man who had already attempted murder, firing at 3 innocent strangers from his car for no reason at all. Investigators would later learn he was circling the area, possibly searching for another opportunity to kill. And when a lone patrol officer finally spotted the vehicle fleeing the scene, he had no idea he was seconds away from the closest brush with death of his career.
We're stopped Charles in Sandusky. He's got a silver helmet on, rifle in his lap, back window's busted out.
The officer follows the suspect's car, noticing immediately that the back window has been blown out. The driver is wearing a silver motorcycle helmet, and resting in his lap is a rifle. Dispatch is notified. Backup is on the way. But in these moments, the officer is frighteningly alone, trailing a man who has already tried to murder random citizens. When the patrol car signals the suspect to stop, the man suddenly pulls over on a quiet intersection. The moment the officer steps out of his cruiser, everything explodes into chaos.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Don't you move! Don't move! Don't you move! Don't you move! You move, I'll blast you! Yes, sir. You hear me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Idiot! Yes, what the hell are you doing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, here's my hand. Look. Don't you move! Don't you move! I'm just standing for the tires, all right? I understand, okay? Okay. I'm not playing with you. I understand, okay? My girl's not with you guys, okay? Yeah. Get up! Is he shooting at you? Yeah, he shot at me. You're tired, man. You're tired. You're shot at a cruise. Tonight we got one in custody.
The suspect fires, striking the officer's helmet with a round that would have killed him instantly without protective gear. The officer returns fire, hitting the shooter and forcing him to surrender in the middle of the roadway. Adrenaline floods the scene. The officer can barely process what just happened. He has been shot at point-blank range, and he is still standing only because the bullet struck the top of his helmet instead of his skull. As backup arrives, the suspect begins rambling, claiming he was only aiming at the tires, insisting he wasn't trying to kill anyone, even though officers know he had already shot at multiple victims earlier that night.
Not the first person trying to kill me this year. Good job. You're shooting at us? You're trying to kill us.
You're tired.
Yeah, you're tired. Holy dude. You shot right at me.
In the helmet. Head.
Yeah, you're good.
That's a motorcycle helmet. The boot. So you're a better shot than me.
Holy.
All right. Okay. I'm calm.
Pat him down.
I'm calm.
No.
Can you guys like focus on my dick in my face, all right? I'm calm. You guys calm down, all right?
Did you shoot people out there?
No.
In the county?
No.
Because we're looking for a shooting and you just happen to be riding around with a gun? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you in the court of law. The right to an attorney if you can't afford an attorney will be appointed to you by the courts. You have the right to stop speaking at any time. You understand your rights? You serve in the Marines? What the man?
I'm not killing people, man.
You're trying to kill me, man.
No, I didn't, man. I was trying to get tired, dude.
You shot my car.
You wouldn't let me go. Regardless.
Chicken Stupid says of Centerburg, 1999, Constitution wagon. It's not valid, man.
Just upholding the Constitution, man, that's all.
No, I don't think so, man.
Yeah, I am. You don't even know what I'm fucking doing, man.
You just shot at me.
The tire, man. You ever been to fucking combat, man?
I'm a cop in these tires, brother.
You see where I was aiming. I was aiming downward, okay?
I shot at him,
Okay. I wasn't aiming at you guys. Think that all you want, but that's all I'm going to say. I wasn't intending to harm you, okay? Look at me.
Get in the car.
Okay.
All right.
2, you're clear. 7.
Take her easy.
Go ahead.
Shot him, man.
Go ahead and get a hold of 401. Get a hold of,
Deep breath. See over there crying? I didn't shoot at you guys. Not directly, okay? Just looking tired. I got hit in the head and I'm not crying. Shit.
Yeah.
I lit him up and he came through and he kept going. He was adjusting the rifle, pointing out the back window, and he fired like four rounds at me.
He shot?
He shot at me.
Okay.
And then I shot, I don't know how much I shot at him in the car. He said I hit him in the head.
Okay.
Guy out there you guys got out there at the county, killed somebody?
I don't know.
That's what Jenny's just telling me, the guy. Yeah, we're at Spring and Charles. Get Kenny or Neil here too, because we got shooting, officers involved in shooting and stuff. So, all right.
Good boy, good boy. I know you'd chew my arm off if you had the chance, but good doggy.
You good?
I don't know. I feel like I'm being a bitch or something.
Hey, don't.
I live for this too. It's weird.
You're not being a man.
I wasn't expecting to find him. Holy hell.
In the head. Wireman said he shot him in the head. Hit him in the helmet.
I don't see a bullet. I mean, that's not a bullet mark.
No.
That is, though.
Ah.
And right there's the round.
Yep. So he must have had his helmet on backwards.
Later at the hospital and during processing, the suspect refuses to answer questions. He stares blankly, pretending not to understand or even acknowledge detectives. Eventually, he's transferred to a behavioral health facility for evaluation, but days later, he escapes, vanishing from the hospital grounds and triggering yet another manhunt. When he is finally captured again, prosecutors throw every possible charge at him: felonious assault, attempted aggravated murder, disrupting public services, firing a weapon near prohibited areas, and more. In total, the courts hand down a maximum sentence of 34.5 years in prison. The officer who survived the helmet strike later said he just wanted to go home to his family, and that for a moment, he wasn't sure he would. The footage makes it painfully clear why. 1 inch in any direction, and his entire story would have ended as an on-duty funeral. Instead, one officer lived through a nightmare, and a violent gunman is off the streets for decades. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.